I feel as though her performance was honestly kind of trash. And I feel like most people ought to have saw that, right? Do I think it was Donald Trump's best performance? Maybe not. I stand by it and I'll say it forever. I don't think he's the greatest debater. But Trump is Trump. People already know, they've already made their decisions. Kamala Harris is the one that has to convince people. And well, like I keep saying, folks, no matter how many times the media says it, it just doesn't seem to actually be happening. Perspective likely hasn't changed much. Let's have a conversation about that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I've just collected a bunch of videos that I think kind of all make the same point. Let's first start off with ABC News. That's, of course, the biased trash network that worked so diligently with the Kamala campaign to produce that fake debate theater. Well, just take a look.
When she was asked direct questions, she didn't answer them. So that's why that's what's left me with, okay, I'm not quite sure yet what her policies are and so on. So I'm going to dig a little more into her policies.
And you were satisfied with the answers that Donald Trump gave?
Oh, I knew them already.
Exactly what we've been saying. You know, answers, but I don't think they got any answers because Kamala Harris didn't give any real answers, and the ABC moderators didn't hold her feet to the flame like they did Trump. You know, it really feels as though that's been the prevailing narrative. What Democrats were looking for here was Kamala Harris mops the floor with Orange Man, saving democracy forever, providing logically impenetrable policy platform that will work, says literally everyone. You know, that's what Democrats, I think, are always gunning for, but instead what they got was, what a freaking farce that was. Donald Trump had a pretty cool haircut, and man, they still really don't like this guy. It's a 3v1. Every person that I've spoken to about the debate, even, you know, relatively non-political people, everybody seemed to have had the same perspective. Not much from the Kamala side. She was, you know, whatever. Some people other than Joe Biden were better than I was expecting. You know, not exactly.
And there it goes. Oh, this is going to connect and reconnect when we go over this bridge. There's always fucking Wi-Fi interference by this bridge. I'm not even going to get it started again until we get over it.
And of course, what we hear the most is, man, they were a really unfair decision after watching the debate. Yeah, I'm sure she made it right then and there, right? She's endorsing Kamala Harris because she did such a great job in the debate. You know, that's what they were trying to create. But ABC hits the leftoids with some pretty bad news here. Impact of Taylor Swift's endorsement among all adults, 6% more likely to support Harris, 13% less likely to support Harris with the Taylor Swift endorsement, and 81% makes no difference. Oh my lord. That's just brutal news for the Democrats and their strategy. Back to the drawing board, I guess. Or I guess back to Orange Man bad.
Hispanics, the worst performing Democrat in modern history among those demographics, worst performing polling-wise among Jews. She is losing key factions of the Democratic base. Muslim voters, she's at under 50%, she's at 52% in the latest CARE poll among black Muslims. She is not doing well.
She's the worst polling Democrat against Donald Trump in the history of national polls. That's true. You know, everyone keeps comparing her numbers to Joe Biden right before he exited in 2024, but what kind of comparison is that? Joe Biden was down up to 5 points in all the major swing states, and on the verge of losing possibly Virginia, New York, and even New Jersey coming into play. That was at least Kamala Harris isn't polling as bad as Joe Biden was. Yeah, but she's still polling pretty bad historically compared to Hillary Clinton, compared to Joe Biden, and especially compared to Barack Obama. Yet the media portrays her as the second coming of Barack Obama. It's a farce. And I know the polling data is showing a certain trajectory, but I'm sticking with the outliers here. I'm sticking with the guys who haven't changed their methodology. And if we look at Rasmussen, I mean, look at the numbers based on their daily update. They're showing Trump up by 6. Now, of course, these numbers tend to fluctuate. Sometimes it'll come back and show a dead even tie. But if you take the average, you find a trend. Donald Trump might possibly be up here nationally against Kamala Harris. And that's exactly what the head pollster at Rasmussen said.
There should be no complacency after especially what everybody saw in 2020, because again, Biden comfortably 4.5 points nationally won the national popular vote, but he only won by 120,000 votes in 4 swing states. Same thing could definitely happen if people aren't paying attention. I think Trump's going to win this. I think Trump's probably going to win, maybe if everything holds up, the national popular vote.
That's the conversation we're having. But again, the media presents it as if it's Trump's demise, his final hurrah. No freaking way. And they're also saying that Kamala Harris won the debate, but again, no freaking way. You know, here's more headlines causing panic at the DNC. Reuters focus group delivers some bad debate news for Kamala Harris, and it's all her own fault. As we noted, while the CNN poll said that Harris performed better, Trump came out ahead in the most important categories: on the economy, on immigration, and leadership as the commander-in-chief. And a Reuters focus group really shows the difference in perception and focus between the media and the voters. Reuters interviewed 10 people who were still unsure of how they were going to vote on November 5th. 6 said that afterwards they would now either vote for Trump or were leaning towards him, and 3 said that they were now back to the Harris side, with 1 still unsure. You know, not exactly fitting the media's narrative. We've got a CBS focus group.
He spoke facts. She just basically repeated everything that Biden has said in the past.
What were your thoughts?
She made, Donald Trump made a strong closing statement by saying, why didn't they do all the things that she's proposing during the 3.5 years that they've been in office? And Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024, but she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist, moderate stance is just a facade.
Delivering more bad news for the Kamala campaign. You know, the headlines just keep stacking. There's even this from the New York Times. Undecided voters weren't so sure. I also showed you guys that live data from Fox News, where independents tracked perfectly with Republicans.
It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan.
It seems as though the evidence continues to suggest that Donald Trump won the debate handedly. You know, there's obviously a different view between viewers and critics, or the audience and the pundits and journalists. What they see is a completely different reality because they live in an alternate reality. They saw girl boss queen take down the orange warlord. And us living in the real world, well, we saw this.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say.
I think that pretty much speaks for itself. Again, there might be something a brewing. I don't think Kamala Harris is doing nearly as well as they're telling you she is. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video.
fucking idiot. Get the fuck over, dude.
All right, as with all these videos, put yourself in the person's shoes who's getting harassed by cops, because one day it could be you, so maybe we can use this as a learning experience. This comes from Third Coast Cop Watch. Rob is sitting in his vehicle in this curve. What's Rob doing? Well, Rob is just minding his own business. We're going to take a look at this, and we're going to work through it, go through it, make some comments. It's really disgusting that cops continue to abuse their power and treat Americans like we're enemies.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. I'm going to start off this video with 2 words. Holy moly. In fact, we should probably make it 3 words. Holy freaking moly. Once again, I guess we got the tinfoil hat on. Except honestly, at this point, I don't think that image fits us anymore, considering we tend to be on the money with these supposed theories. Less theories and more just conspiracies. As I've often said, you know, we've played a lot of clips relating to this issue. We've been speaking about it for years. The Democrats' clear and obvious plan to change the American electoral map through this illegal migration scheme. It's so freaking obvious what they're doing. Everyone can see it. Even left-wingers like Joe Rogan essentially openly admit it.
What is that allowing people to come in through the southern border? Do you think that what's going on, and this is what the argument that I've heard, is 2 things are happening. One, like in New York City, the mayor, I believe Eric Adams said that he believes that illegal immigrants should be allowed to vote, which is fascinating. It's a fascinating thing to say, because as soon as you say that, and then you're also letting people in, they know that the people that are allowing them to vote are people in the Democratic Party. So you're basically allowing people to come in, because those are the people that are interested in allowing people to come in illegally, right? Those are the ones that don't fight it. And then once they're in, you want them to be able to vote. So you're essentially saying, hey, we got you in, you know who to vote for, because we're the people that let you in.
I mean, it's so freaking obvious to everyone. Kamala Harris is pretending to be a border hawk as she releases ads with Donald Trump's border wall. Meanwhile, this is her track record.
It is wrong to somehow suggest that an undocumented immigrant is a criminal. Being an undocumented immigrant is not a crime. I know what a crime looks like. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
And meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi, like last week, said this.
Excuse me?
So you'd vote for this one?
Well, I'm not familiar with exactly what it is, but making the American dream of home ownership available to all people is something we have to do for people who are here now.
This is for 4 years. This is undocumented. This is for the undocumented.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented.
They're obviously up to something, and when you look and analyze the data, which some people have done here online in an X thread, well, it makes that plan quite obvious. This might just be a hostile takeover of the nation through its elections. Let's have a conversation about that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so we got a post here from Data Hazard on X, who goes by @Fenticil, using CBP data. Here it is. He says, did you think Kamala Harris was flying them to Martha's Vineyard? 81%. That's somehow went to states that voted against her in 2020. If you look closely at the graph, you can just barely see when she started flying them into your neighborhood. And so obviously the red portion of the bar represented, well, apparently Data Hazard responds, claiming he took the data from CBP's numbers. There was even a detractor in the comments who plotted the data accurately with an open source link to his code uploaded on GitHub, as you see right over here. And just to add to the credibility, Elon Musk also retweeted that the data is accurate. But personally, I didn't even have to go there because it just seems so intuitive. It's exactly what we've seen over the last couple of years, really over the last 8 years. It all started back in 2016 when Donald Trump came down that golden escalator, announcing his run for president and claiming he was going to be tough on the border. Democrats then, of course, selectively edited these sanctuary cities that were far away from the southern border, whenever actually taking on the brunt of the illegal migration crisis. We've been talking about it for years, and so it comes as no surprise. You know, that was the whole reason Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis were busing migrants to sanctuary cities. And of course, over the years, we've learned about all these migrant movement programs, supposedly late in the night migrant flights to various destinations. And late last year, or maybe early this year, Fox News was reporting how 20,000 Haitian migrants were being sent to a small town in Ohio with only 58,000 people or residents. You know, slowly but surely, the bricks adding up, except in this case, they're multicolored bricks, and the end result is a mosaic. You see the whole picture. The Democrats plot to take over elections forever. Is it really surprising? They're allowing these migrants into the nation and then placing them in strategic zones where they need to bolster their support. And of course, what's the second part of the plan? Trying to sneak amnesty. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Kamala Harris is the Trojan horse. Get her to the presidency and in comes an executive order granting amnesty to all illegals. Probably not, likely unconstitutional, but you know, that's the next logical step. We already have Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi essentially saying they want amnesty. How many times have they tried to sneak amnesty inside, you know, big government spending bills where it has no place being sign on to the bill or else kind of thing, holding the nation hostage with this aggressive, hostile takeover? I'm gonna say it again, it is so freaking obvious. And you know, it's been a while since I've revisited this. The original description that I wrote for this channel, when I launched it back in 2019, liberal hive mind, former liberal, looking to shine light on the hypocrisy that pushed me away from the left. You know, it's this kind of stuff, the kind of thing that's just so crazy it just can't be associated with it. I support a nation's sovereignty, protecting its border, preserving a nation's culture, especially a great nation, preserving the culture that made it great, supporting family, the creation of children, and of course the continuation of that culture. But what the Democrats represent these days is the destruction of culture, the destruction of nation. You know, this year they decided to wave American flags at the DNC, but we know what their supporters are doing outside the DNC, and that's burning the American flag. The Democrats support the destruction of the family. They make fun of J.D. Vance when he suggests federal initiatives that would incentivize childbirth. Now, the Democrats don't want any of that. They don't want patriotism. They don't want more Americans. They want to continue to destroy the American dream, destroy the American family. Who needs to have children and grow your population when you can simply import loyal voters that will keep you in power forever? And while that, I just simply cannot associate myself with a party engaged in those style of tactics. I'm just too much of a patriot. I believe in the genius of Western civilization, and I want to see its continuance, not its demise. That's pretty much it. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
leave it cool in here.
The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years.
I'll be right
I'm
back.
done with this. Have you thought about my computer career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months. You know, cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check it out. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Mentoring is available for all residents, including the GI Bill.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Now, if a family member or friend asked you for financial advice or where to go for tax help, well, would you send them somewhere with hundreds and hundreds of complaints? Of course not. That's why for years you've heard me say if you do owe back taxes, if you didn't file returns in years gone by, or if you are a business owner and you're behind on your payroll taxes, you need to call my friends at Rush Tax Resolution today. Now, hiring the wrong companies can make your situation a lot worse and put you, your family, and or your company in jeopardy. Now, there are a lot of imposters out there, but Rush Tax Resolution, they are the only tax relief firm I trust and recommend. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They have protected so many of my listeners from tax disasters and saved them a ton of money. Call Rush Tax now for a free IRS transcript investigation, and they'll tell you upfront and for free if they can help you. They will only take your case if they know they can help you, period. 800-258-7050. 800-258-7050. RushTaxResolution.com.
At Sprouts Farmers Market, we're all about fresh, healthy, and delicious. That's why you'll find the season's best organic produce handpicked and waiting for you in the center of our store. We bring in local, farm-fresh fruits and veggies bursting with flavor. Come on in to discover everyday favorites like juicy berries and crisp greens, but also unique peak season varieties like rhubarb or cotton candy grapes. Visit your neighborhood Sprouts Farmers Market today, where fresh produce is always in season.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees, no obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Conahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed. Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system. So I didn't need to get on this ladder? Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/patriot to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off. Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/patriot for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. Not discount per household. This statement is not evaluated by the FDA. It's not related to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices. Touchdown! Hey, how about another round of smart chips? But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
Active Liver is one of many award-winning health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at Amazon.com or for a volume discount, visit newnordicusa.com. Available as a tablet or delicious sugar-free gummy. Protect and help your liver the easy and effective way with Active Liver at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
About that road trip you were planning, let French Lake Resort be your next destination.
Oy.
Modern masterpiece in the classic Donald Ross course celebrating Walter Hagen's 1924 PGA Championship. French Lake Resort offers a truly unique golfing experience. Legendary golf speaks for itself at the French Lake Resort. Go to FrenchLake.com.
Family problem? Call 800-9-WITH-IT or text INGAMP to 53342.
This is Sirius XM Patriot, channel 125.
Well, one of the 3 desktops is here today. They were all supposed to be here on Saturday. Of course they're not, though.
When news breaks, you get the inside story that no one else has. And the behind-the-scenes chatter that the mainstream media doesn't even know about. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
25 to the top of the hour. More with my friend Steve Witkoff was playing golf yesterday with President Trump when the assassination attempt took place. He was there for all of it. We'll get right back to him in a second. You find yourself exhausted fighting that 3 p.m. crash after lunch during the day, or maybe you're struggling with memory issues, having a hard time focusing. Maybe you're just tired of being sick and tired all the time. And then you have to stop right now, pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, because it's transformed my life. Strong Cell, a revolutionary supplement. It is a game changer. I take it every single day, and the longer I've been taking it, the more it works and the better I feel and the more natural energy I have, and it helps me stay focused all day long and just makes me feel better overall. Now, Strong Cell is made right here in America. It's a natural product. It utilizes a method to get NADH to your cells, over a billion cells in every body. Just go online today, do your body a favor, do yourself a favor, invest in your health. It changed my life, and I can't imagine a day not taking Strong Cell. Go to HannityStrong.com, use the promo code Hannity at checkout. You'll get 20% off any order. That's HannityStrong.com, 20% off. And by the way, you get a 60-day no-risk policy. So stay strong with Strong Cell. It'll help your mind, your body today. Steve Witkoff is with us. He is a developer, real estate investor, chairman, CEO of the Witkoff Group. He's also with him yesterday. Prior to him then going to play golf with President Trump, and he was there for the entire assassination attempt. And it has to be a harrowing experience. And let me now ask the hard part, Steve, because there are things that are very troubling to me and to many others, and having spoken with Eric and Laura Trump, I know this is very troubling to them as well. And that is that we had Butler, Pennsylvania come down. I have a report right here in front of me, and it was put out by Josh Hawley from earlier today, and it is a whistleblower report, failures of the U.S. Secret Service in connection with the attempted assassination of former President Donald J. Trump. It is what Richard Blumenthal described it would be, the Democrat from Connecticut last week, and that is shocking. It is alarming. The failures are on a spectacular level. I do know that we learned that an eagle-eyed Secret Service agent spotted the barrel of the gun in the bushes, not far from where you guys were playing that 5th hole, and where the former president was with you. You were within just a couple of yards of the president. That means bullets would have been whizzing by your head, and you might not even be alive today. And the thought of losing 2 friends is just too much for me to bear, to be very honest. And what's troubling to me, and to Eric, and to Laura, and to many Americans, is how is it possible that the Secret Service, and again, the people around you, you describe as heroic, and I agree completely with you. They're amazing. But there's something wrong in how they are protecting the president, and people, in this case, somebody with an AK-47 with a scope on it could be within 300 yards of the former president and top Republican presidential candidate, the nominee for president in an election 50 days away. How did that happen? There's a problem here.
Well, I'd say a few things. The first is that, and it's redundant, but it's relevant, is that this team on the ground did an exemplary job, Sean. They were incredible.
Everything you've described is they were perfect. They were amazing.
They were perfect, and this gentleman,
Hey, Eggsy.
Secret Service agent, who was in charge of going forward, he identified them, but apparently the Secret Service agent on the outside perimeter had just missed them.
he was scanning like he should, and he just missed the guy. The guy basically planted himself there shortly after he left, and so they missed him in that coverage, but they caught him in the inside coverage, and that's the reason why nobody was tragically injured or killed, God forbid. So they did an exemplary job. Now, I heard, and this is just what I heard on the news, I heard from the Palm Beach Sheriff that the president is not given a presidential detail, which of course makes no sense to me. It makes sense to me that his detail ought to be augmented or amplified or made smaller, depending on what the threat level is. And given what the threat level is based on Butler, and given what some of the security alerts I've heard about coming from the Iranians are, I would think that he would have at least a presidential detail worth of manpower, and yet he didn't that day. So it's hard to imagine.
Drive to Reds Irish goodbye.
And the full complement of people necessary to guard him correctly. That's one. Two, Eric is a marksman. He knows about these things pretty well because he practices it, he's competed and so forth. And he's got a good point in that maybe some of these security protocols, i.e. broadening out the boundaries within which you guard him.
Well, it's going to be a long night. I got to stop and pick up some earbuds I left at the restaurant the other day, and then I got to drive out to Cleveland, install a computer, so I don't have to fuck with it while we're on vacation. It's gonna be a long night.
Over a mile away. That to me would have to be the perimeter, at least for a president or somebody that has had as many threats as President Trump. I would argue he's probably the top political target in the country today. Obviously he is, because he's now experienced this.
It's all right.
I agree with you.
You're getting paid to do it, but still.
The president at the rallies.
We don't want to fuck with it.
I was with him just recently on 9/11. I was with him at the rally the night before. When you go to the airport, they've got sharpshooters now, sniper teams, in elevated places, and they're looking, and there's multiple teams out there. It's very clear, and they've got their guns trained in all the different directions based on where the president could be at any particular moment, from the moment that he leaves his car, gets on the plane, gets off. So I saw that. You see that happen at the airports. I'm not good enough to understand where the different points are at that golf club. First of all, I go there with the president, never thinking that this could ever happen. The president never thinks that this could ever happen. He's to me about this club repeatedly. What do you think about this? I call it our sanctuary. I played 500.
If there's ever been a picture of Donald Trump playing golf,
How is our earless wonder?
I just walked in the door.
Oh.
About to get him out now. Well, we already know the vet couldn't even get him to keep the machine on, so yeah.
That's fine. I didn't know that. Well, I picked up the one computer that was there, it was delivered. I tore into fucking Lenovo today. They haven't even shipped yet. They haven't even shipped the other two.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be there Saturday. So Matt's okay though, but he does need me to install this one, so I'm heading out there now.
Oh, you're heading to Cleveland?
Yep. Get it out of the way. It'll be done. I'll be done with it. You know?
Yep.
The way I can help tomorrow night as much as possible. And my earbuds are at Red's, so I'm gonna stop at Red's and pick them up since I'm heading toward the turnpike anyway.
Well, at least they're there.
Yeah. Well, actually, because remember I messaged Bill about it, and he's like, not that I know of. And then I'm halfway to Best Buy, and he's like, hey, are these yours? And he sent me a picture of them. I'm like, yep. He must have asked somebody there if they found them, and I guess they've been sitting in the bar since, what, last Tuesday?
Oh, nice.
So. All right. Well, just wanted to let you know what the status is.
Okie dokie.
Get this out of the way. Get paid for another. And I was punched in for most of the day because I was fucking helping. I mean, doing all that shit for Brett, then for fucking Matt, and then everybody else. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay punched in. You know?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Matt, once again, walking through, he's like, this so-and-so, this dude can't get logged into his Microsoft Word. It says that it's expired. I'm like, well, then he's not logged in with the right thing, because our shit doesn't expire. He's like, well, when we get time, can I call you and you can walk me through it once again, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, sure, I don't care. Just stay on the clock. And then he calls me, I'm like, okay, you ready? He's like, well, now our internet's out. So I log in, I'm like, yep, you have an outage. He's like, well, when do you think it's going to be back? I'm like, I don't know, but they're saying by 3:30.
Yeah.
I have no control what the cable company does. You know? And they have that backup thing in there, but he's like, do you want me to go back there and switch? I'm like, I would really, you know, unless you really, really need it, it's only like 2 hours away. Because once you switch it to one thing, then we're going to have to switch it back when it comes back. And I said, that's pretty much a useless connection. It's only for absolute emergencies, you know?
All right.
So, no, don't do that. So he called me back when the internet was working again, and sure enough, he sent me a picture of what the guy's saying. I'm like, yeah, he's logged in under the Windows login, not his Legends. Walked him through that after changing the password, because he apparently had changed it one time, which I thought was funny because he didn't have a recovery email. I'm like, that's weird that he was able to change it, because he wouldn't have known what he changed it to. So set up his recovery email. I trust Brent, and I mean, Brent is the one that hires him constantly. He's the biggest pain in the ass with that, you know. I got a cop right behind me. Right on my back bumper. Fucking dick. It's unmarked too. Middle cop. Hello, dirty. So say hello to everybody. But yeah, I just wanted to update you what was going on. And they were like, oh, there's nothing here. When I just got to Best Buy, they're like, there's nothing here for you. I'm like, bullshit. It's not supposed to go back to restock till after today. That's one reason I'm here, is because it says that you guys are going to restock it after today. He's like, what's your name again? I'm like, for the third time, you know, here's my ID.
Yeah.
He walks back there and he's like, oh, here it is. I'm like, yeah. And then literally there's nobody in that fucking store. I'm walking to the door and they stop me at the door. I'm like, you just heard me talking to this guy. You saw him hand it to me.
All right.
No wonder you guys don't have no fucking business and they're closing down all over the place. You guys don't know how to treat customers. Okay, well, I gotta call Matt and find out what room he wants this thing put in. And break it to him that they haven't even shipped the other two yet. He's gonna ask, well, when do you think they're gonna ship them? I'm like, dude, I don't think. I just go by what forgot. And if I'd have gone by the email that the first time I went there, they should be there already.
Right.
So this is why I'll be just ordering from fucking Amazon from now on. The Lenovo store on Amazon. I don't care. You know, it's not my money. If I'm paying an extra $100 for something, you know, Jews are millionaires anyway.
Right.
All right, baby. Loves ya.
All right, love you.
Oh, you going in tomorrow?
No.
Okay. Oh, so you're done for the week?
Hell yeah.
I mean, done going in. You're obviously going to be working tomorrow.
Working tomorrow until 4:30, and then leave me the fuck alone.
And Alex starts what, next Monday?
Alex starts training on Thursday, Ryan.
Oh, with Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Ryan's the one who should be doing most of it anyway.
Yep.
All right, baby. Love ya. Oh, did you bring that computer and stuff in? The computer and the phone?
Yeah, I gave it to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you gave it to Ryan?
No, I gave it to Alex.
Oh, Alex is there today.
He came in and
for
onboarded
onboarding.
today, and yeah.
Well, everything's set up for him, so
Yeah.
you just need to put him in the right teams.
I already did it.
All right. All right. Love ya.
All right, love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, sorry. Yeah, we're traveling on vacation. We're going to West Virginia. Leaving Wednesday. Sorry, Eggsy.
For over 40 years,
Had to get caught up with the wife. We talked to her all day.
Everything from airfare and hotels to meals, transportation.
What's up, Hero? Hero.
Right now, save 20% off escorted tours and river cruises with code DISCOVER20 at GateOneTravel.com. Offer expires October 11th, 2024. Travel your way with Gate One Travel and see more of the world for lists.
Her name is Jenny, and maybe like you, she and her husband got tired of their health care getting more and more expensive, so they did it. They went with MediShare.
We signed on with MediShare in March, had a really great experience. It was super easy to get going with them. And then in October of that same year, we found out that I had stage 3 breast cancer.
We were put at ease with MediShare, guiding us and walking with us and saying that they're going to be praying for us.
It's very intentional how they try to bless people when they know this is one of the hardest things that they're going through.
They and their 4 kids thank the Lord
Hey, Jody.
for her healing and how he provided for them. But she says it makes her emotional.
I'm gonna leave you guys listening to Hannity while I go in and
What we put towards MediShare is
have a beer and grab my
another mom, and they're
my
gonna show up
earbuds
for
that I
her
left
the
in
way
here.
that they showed up for me.
Then I gotta get on the road and head to Cleveland.
Really good. Call now. It's 844-57.
Only one day.
It's 844-57-BIBLE.
Way bored. Ain't seen you in a while, bud. Good to see ya.
Using your credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car. 800-575-4181. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-4181.
Guy's driving down the road by himself with a mask on. Just went by. What the fuck is happening to this world?
As a gynecologist, I'm embarrassed to say this. We use deodorant on our armpits and make women feel bad about body odor on other parts of their body. That's why I created Lumi Whole Body Deodorant. It's clinically proven to control odor.
This is stupid that it's no turn on red on the curbside.
It controls
done with one job. I gotta run out to Cleveland now after I
Soap is lousy. Lumi's not.
pick something up here.
And privates go everywhere you go.
Hey, I made some jerky though for you. I'll be bringing you some jerky
Reassurance is priceless.
Sunday. If you want to meet up, I'll bring you some.
Of all time. There's a special
I made a batch last night.
Use code FRESH and get 15% off your first purchase with code FRESH. LUMEdeodorant.com. Code FRESH for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com. Code FRESH to save 15% today.
Channel 125.
Yeah, I made a batch last night. I'm gonna bring some to a friend of ours in West Virginia, but I'm also gonna bring you some.
That's going to wrap things up with today. Loaded up tonight, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel. Steve Witkoff, flank off of the president yesterday, will tell his first-hand account of this now second assassination attempt of President Trump.
I'll leave the car on.
Reaction from
while I
Eric
run
Trump.
in here.
He is.
I'm gonna have a beer and a shot.
That this has happened, rightly so. We have new polls coming out. We'll check in with our pollsters, Matt Towery, Robert Haley, 9 Eastern tonight. Hannity on Fox. See you then back here tomorrow. Thank you for making this show possible.
All right, you guys get to listen to Hannity. I'll be right back.
Business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes,
In a bit.
interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted.
They can do it from anywhere there's an internet connection. Look, financial planners will never care about your money more than you. So learn how to trade the weekly stock options for maximum leverage with my TSL method that focuses on minimizing risk and at the same time teaches you to follow the smart money professional traders. Because we figured out a way to spot when they are about to make a move so we can ride their coattails. It's as simple as that. Learn this and see what your quality of life could turn into. Call my office at 800-881-5252 now, and I'll give you my $500 mini course video for free, so you can see that we know what we're talking about. Call 800-881-5252. 800-881-5252. That's 800-881-5252.
Do you ever watch TV and think, wow, I'm really good at this? You're right. With rewards on Sling, watching 30 minutes of TV daily gives you chances to win up to $10,000 in cash and other monthly prizes. Sign up for Sling or stream for free with Sling Free Stream to get rewarded for watching TV. Sling lets you do that. Visit sling.com/rewards to learn more and get started. No purchase necessary or prohibited by law. Visit sling.com/rewards/official-rules for more details.
Senator Marsha Blackburn.
Anytime you have less regulation, less litigation, and less taxation, you're going to have more innovation and job creation. You can take that to the bank.
Conservative principles live here. This is Patriot on Sirius XM.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Charges have been filed against the suspected would-be assassin who staked out Donald Trump's golf course. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
During a West Palm Beach federal court hearing, prosecutors brought 2 charges against Ryan Ralph: possessing a firearm despite a prior felony conviction and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Officials said he could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted on the first charge and a possible 5-year sentence on the second charge. A bond hearing has been scheduled for later in the month. Greg Clugston, Washington.
2 ex-fire chiefs in New York City are under arrest in a corruption scandal.
U.S. Attorney Damian Williams says was a pay-to-play bribery scheme involving tens of thousands of dollars, where he says Anthony Saccavino and Brian Cordasco allowed some to get faster approvals from the Bureau of Fire Prevention.
To let some people cut to the front of the line for faster service that could only be accessed with bribes.
The arrests come after multiple federal investigations swirl around Mayor Eric Adams and his inner circle, including one inquiry that appears partly focused on whether the administration sped up fire safety inspections at the Turkish consulate in exchange for illegal contributions. Julie Walker, New York.
A massive pipeline fire in suburban Houston has been shooting a giant plume of fire into the air for hours. First responders evacuated a surrounding neighborhood where some homes have caught fire. The 20-inch pipeline is shut down, but local officials say it'll take hours more, if not into Tuesday, before residual natural gas liquids flow out of the pipeline. On Wall Street, the Dow went to a new record, up 228 points to 41,622 today. More at townhall.com.
For anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Progressive presents Renters NDP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states. Aye, sir.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at another all-time high. After recouping its losses from early September, the S&P 500 rose close to its own record, but was held back by losses in big tech companies like Apple and Nvidia. The Dow gained 0.6%, the S&P 500 rose 0.1%, and the Nasdaq Composite fell 0.5%. The mixed results came ahead of the most anticipated meeting of the Federal Reserve in years. More traders are betting that the Fed will cut its main interest rate on Wednesday by a larger than usual amount. The Dow is up 228 points to close at 41,622. The Nasdaq lost 91 to 17,592. The S&P 500 gained 7 points to 5633. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
Kamala and Crooked Joe purged 8,000 service members from our military for refusing their COVID vaccine mandate. They refused to do it. We didn't want a mandate. With a mandate, you just can't do that. I will rehire every patriot who was fired from the military with an apology and with back pay. They will get their back pay and an apology from our government.
Conservative principles live here. This is SiriusXM Patriot. Every season is diesel season, so power up yours with House. Poor quality fuel can wreak havoc on your engine even in the warmer months. Protect your diesel with House diesel additives and lubricants. 100% alcohol free and made with the highest quality ingredients. House products will keep your diesel vehicles and equipment running strong all year long. Visit houseproducts.com to find out which product you need today to keep your engine running like new tomorrow. House, tested, trusted, guaranteed.
Is painting on your to-do list this summer? Call the professionals at CertaPro for a first-class painting experience for your home or your business. CertaPro painters are locally owned and operated, bringing personalized service to customers in every region. That's because CertaPro focuses on what matters most, you and your happiness. From transparent estimates to the final walkthrough, CertaPro has your back every step of the way. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro. Visit CertaPro.com. That's CERTA Pro.com. Each local CertaPro painters is independently owned and operated.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-978-1515. That's 800-978-1515. 800-978-1515.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the frickin' steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. The Sheriff of Martin County, Florida, which is where our home is in Florida, will be on the program at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time this evening. Look forward to talking to him. Look, I'm not going to regurgitate everything you already know about the second assassination attempt against President Trump. I've been saying now for years, when he was a candidate in 2016, when he was president, when he ran for re-election, since he's run for re-election, the nature of the propaganda, the extent of the propaganda is so off the charts against this man, like nothing this nation has ever seen, ever, that somebody's going to try and kill him. Now, I don't waste Mr. Producer's time telling him to pull together all the times that I mentioned it, because there are multiple. Now we have two. And now we have the media blaming Donald Trump for assassination efforts against him. We actually have an article, what is it, New York Magazine or something like that, Mr. Producer? The New Yorker? In which some guy writes, no, we can keep calling him what he is. I mean, after all, he is the enemy of democracy. He believes in autocracy. I want the good people, the honest people, the citizens of this country, regardless of party and anything else, to hear me out here. The ruling class, including the media, including academia, including certain oligarchs, they want this man out of the way. Period. No, I don't say that they're actively conspiring to knock him off. That'd be ridiculous. That's not my point. My point is they wouldn't be upset. Did you hear what I just said? Not all of them. Some of them don't even bother anymore. But most of them say something like, we're very lucky this didn't happen, and so forth and so on, but Trump, but fill in the blank, but this. I don't get the sense that they're serious when they say that we dodged, as a nation, the proverbial bullet. In other words, I believe there'd be a lot of celebration among the Marxist Islamist left. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not. And the media in this country, look, I wrote an entire damn book on it. If you really want to understand what's going on right now in the country, you read my last 3 books, Unfreedom of the Press from 2019, American Marxism from 2021, and The Democrat Party Hates America from 2023. Now, there might be people listening saying, oh, there he is with his book. You know what? Why wouldn't I cite things that I've already talked about and put together and researched? What is so wrong about citing what I've done? I don't cite it to pat myself on the head. Ladies and gentlemen, I have more awards, more #1 this. It's irrelevant. I have laid it out, chapter and verse, literally. We don't have a free press. There is a Marxist Islamist revolution that's been taking place in the country, and they have found a home in the Democrat Party, which is constantly attacking and ripping at the fiber of this nation. So I fear, but I believe there's a lot of crocodile tears out there. Well, we missed that one. But you know, Trump brought up Haiti. What? You know, Trump called Kamala Harris stupid. What? When you call somebody Hitler for 10 years, unrelentingly, when you call him a psycho, what are they called? A dictator, unrelentingly, for 10 years. When you do that, and you're the president of the United States, and the vice president of the United States, and a former president, in the case of Obama, they're apparatchiks. When they set up organizations to fundraise off of the same. It resonates. Not with smart people, and by that I don't mean book smart people that use their noggin. Not with serious people, but we're a big country, 330 million people. If that stuff resonates with 1/10 of 1/100% of the population, that's a lot. That's a lot. This whole notion of the 1619 Project, this whole notion of critical race theory, of DEI and ESG, this endless repetition of this white dominant society, of this illegitimate society, of this unequal, now inequitable society, of this unjust society, day in and day out from the media, day in and day out from the Democrats, day in and day out from their candidates. It has an impact. It has an impact. And that's the truth. The stuff that's being taught in our colleges and universities, it's absolute filth. Marxism, fascism, anti-Semitism, Islamism. All of which push violence. Now, the Democrat Party's not that upset about violence. They're upset about violence they don't like. What are you talking about, Mark? The southern border is violent every minute of every day. Our inner cities, some aspects of it, are no-go zones by anybody. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. They're no-go zones. You can't go there. They're too damn dangerous. And so what's the answer? To attack the cops. To attack the cops. There's a lot of violence in this country. And it's being spread by a lot of ideologues. Now, the funny thing is, we constitutional conservatives, we're not ideologues. I've explained this at some length in the past. What do we mean by this? May I say, I wrote about it in Liberty and Tyranny. We're not ideologues. Yes, we have a philosophy. We have principles. That's a good thing. But we're not ideologues. That is, we will adjust our thinking depending on the events that occur. We will adjust our thinking in terms of our politics and so forth, depending on what's taking place. Not flip-flop. We will apply our principles to new sets of facts. It's that simple. But if you're an ideologue and you push an agenda that doesn't work, you blame the people. You keep pushing the agenda. That's an ideologue. That's a zombie. We're not ideologues and we're not zombies. We see what's going on the street under this administration, the violence against Jews. The black-on-black violence like we've never seen before in Chicago and other cities. This should be unacceptable. So what do? They slash the budgets of the cops. It's the cops' fault. Excuse me. But this targeting and dehumanization, this is a part of the Marxist Islamist strategy. You don't believe me? Clarence Thomas, the New York Times, the Washington Post, their media, the Democrats in Congress, Joe Biden. It's endless, the war on Clarence Thomas. They've turned him into a non-human. They did the same thing to Robert Bork. They did the same thing to Brett Kavanaugh, which Kamala Harris led that effort. They're doing the same thing to Sam Alito and his wife. In fact, they're doing it to the Supreme Court. The dehumanization of the justices. Look, I have strong disagreements, and I voiced them in a strong way. These people are relentless in the kind of words they use, and they're part of the ruling class. They're part of the establishment. They're not just outsiders. These media organizations, they're not just media organizations. They're part of the ruling class. Look at the way they talk about Netanyahu. They turn Netanyahu into a monster. God forbid, if somebody put a bullet into him, there'd be cheering here in the United United States too, just like they cheer overseas. When we were hit on 9/11, these mentalities, Marxist Islamist mentalities, have taken hold of the Democrat Party. They're spread by the media. Every now and then, I'm asked, take a look at Mediaite. I can't stand that site. Okay, so I look. Day in and day out, it's a hate machine against Trump. It's a hate machine against his closest advisors. Day in and day out. They twist. They take words out of context. But most people don't know about them. I've probably made them famous, or at least infamous. But we now have media, immediately, after this second assassination attempt. Immediately. It's Trump's fault.
Had to cook me some hot dogs. Later, Claiborne.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
Ooh, Levin.
No relationship. This wasn't as I said when I was asked about this last night. This potential killer wasn't a Haitian. He didn't have Haiti on his mind. But the way they take Trump's words and they twist them.
You still here, Jody?
Why? Charlottesville, Joe Biden tells us. So it's because of Trump's comments in Charlottesville he decided to run. The neo-Nazis, the Klansmen. So is it neo-Nazi? Is it Klansman? He's Hitler? This man has done more for the Jews. They're actually blaming Trump. They're not going to back off.
Drive to Legends Recovery Treatment Center, Cleveland, Ohio.
Netanyahu in the minds of millions. They dehumanized Clarence Thomas and Kavanaugh and Alito in the minds of millions. Now they dehumanized the founders of this country. They've dismissed the founding of this country. Our morals, our ethics, our values are being destroyed, as they must be. As I explained in American Marxism. Everything's got to go. The status quo has to go. The more prominent, the more successful, the more threatening, they need to go first of all. You're trying to put a man in prison who's running for president. The communications director, whatever the hell they call him, who works under Bragg, said this case is phony from day one, like we all knew, but it didn't matter. And so Kamala Harris and the rest keep calling him a convicted felon. Convicted felon? This is like the Dreyfus case, for God's sakes. With a special counsel who operates like an old Soviet prosecutor. He's told no, time and again by the Supreme Court, no, by a federal judge in Florida. They tell him no, 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 and he says yes, yes, yes. The things that they put in their filings that are completely unnecessary are intended to influence the public, not just a jury pool. It's election time. So whether it's these prosecutors, whether it's many of these judges who do and say the things they say and do from the bench, I'm supposed to sit here and pretend what I know is not true? And so many people on cable TV, so many people at the New York Times and the Washington Post, so many people are really concerned about Donald Trump's welfare. Baloney. They could care less. And the proof is in the pudding. They're not going to stop. They take no responsibility. And in fact, they blame the victim. It's sickening. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. SmackDown is on Sirius XM here at Friday nights at 8 Eastern on NBC Sports Radio Channel 85. Don't miss the superstars in action like the original Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Then Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, discuss it all with Busted Open's Denise
XM Fight Nation, channel 156, and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help.
But my expectation is there'll be a lot more coming soon. So this has been filed now. Now here to establish probable cause. So here's the detail. So now on September 15th, former President Trump was golfing at his golf club located at this address in West Palm Beach, Florida. And now at approximately 1:31 p.m., a United States Secret Service special agent assigned to Trump's security detail was walking the perimeter of Trump International when the Secret Service agent saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line. It's like, wow. That's pretty good eyesight for as much as we've been ripping on the Secret Service here lately. It's pretty good. What is that thing over there? Is that a gun? The agent fired his or her service weapon in the direction of the rifle. I don't know what the hell that is, but we're not doing Butler again. Just start popping off. Right now, again, compare and contrast that with Butler. They were like, I think, is that a gun? Or is that a violin? I don't know. Maybe he's going to serenade Trump up there. Is it a trombone? I don't know. It might be a trombone. Or it could be a rifle. I don't know. It's making loud noises and people are dying, so I don't think it's a trombone. But maybe it could be. But it's not. It's a gun, then they return fire, okay? Not happening here, right? Think about the difference in urgency of what's happening here. I think that's a gun. It might be a pipe. It could be a branch. Tree line. Entering a Nissan Sport utility vehicle, so it was an SUV, a Nissan SUV. The witness then observed the Nissan leave the area at a high rate of speed. And because he just dropped everything. Now, in the area of the tree line from which Ruth fled, agents went upon the area, found a digital camera, looks like the GoPro, probably right there, looks like a GoPro. 2 bags, you see there, including a backpack, a loaded SKS-style rifle, 7.62 caliber rifle with a scope, and a black plastic bag containing food. The serial number on the SKS-style rifle was obliterated, unreadable to the naked eye. Now, based upon my training and experience, I am aware that the 7.62 caliber rifles are not manufactured in the state of Florida area. Therefore, I submit that there is probable cause to believe that this rifle, which was seized from the tree line at Trump International, have previously traveled in interstate or foreign commerce. Now, the SKS-style rifle and other items recovered at the scene are depicted in the image above. See it right there, so you can't see the rifle. It looks like the silhouette right there. A color photo would be nice. But there's the rifle. Looks like there's a scope on it. Other bags. This morning we were looking at a color photo via Fox News, and some people were also wondering if there was armor plates maybe in these bags. That's why they were set up there like that, right? So maybe he could put the rifle right through those two and then be protected against return fire as he was filming the whole thing. So we'll see. Now, therefore, I submit there's probable cause to believe that the rifle, which was seized from the tree line, may have traveled in interstate commerce. Now, officers from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Martin County Sheriff's Office located the Nissan as it traveled north on the I-95. At 2:14, so about 45 minutes later, we believe, is all it was, because it was about 1:31 when they saw him, and so about 45 minutes later at 2:14, MCSO initiated a motor vehicle stop. Now, the driver and the sole occupant of the Nissan was Ruth. Shortly after the motor vehicle stop, Ruth asked if he knew why he was being stopped. He responded in the affirmative, yes. Officers noted that the license plate attached to the Nissan is not his at all. It's registered to a white Ford truck from 2012 and has been reported stolen. So, a fake license plate. During the course of the motor vehicle stop, his license had been suspended many times. Now, during the course previously seen entering the Nissan. Now that's, so we would really like to know who this person is and how this person was so observant, what position they were in to see all of this. Now, during their investigation, was this a highly trafficked area? Was this fence an area where he could just pop into? And other people were walking by, this guy pops out of the bushes. What the hell's he doing running there? Who is that guy? Because they're just walking their dogs? Or is he really deep embedded in the shrubbery? Like in the jungle? During their investigation, law enforcement also discovered a publicly viewable Facebook post from on or about July 10th in which Ruth directed his followers to contact him on an instant messaging application called WhatsApp at the following number detailed here. Now, database checks indicate that a mobile phone number assigned with that number is serviced by T-Mobile, and that Ruth is a subscriber to them. Now, agents requested T-Mobile on an emergency basis to provide law enforcement with information pertaining to the mobile phone usage. Those records indicate that Ruth's mobile phone was located in the vicinity of the area along the tree line described above from approximately 1:59 in the morning, showing up bright and early, 2 in the morning, until 1:31 p.m. Okay, so he's there for a full 12 hours. Shows up in the morning, leaves in the afternoon.
Cancel route.
The cops, why he brought that food. Now, a review of law enforcement indices reflected that on or about December 20th, 2002, Ruth was convicted in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so they got one witness who's basically putting him on the rifle. Again, let's continue and see what they say. And he was convicted of priors. He had a possession of weapon of mass death and destruction. He had a weapon of mass death and destruction. So like, oh, perfect, let him go. And it was a Class F felony. He could be punished in North Carolina for up to 59 months. But law enforcement indices indicated further that, so they search him up in the databases and they say, where are his other criminal records? He was also convicted of multiple counts of possession of stolen goods in North Carolina. Those are also punishable by up to 39 months in prison. And so based on the fact that he's got multiple counts of stolen goods and a WND violation and convictions, right? So those are sticking. He's a convicted felon. His rights have not been restored, and so he cannot have a firearm. So it's very basic. You can see there's almost nothing even in here about wanting to shoot Trump or shoot the president. It's just a simple possession case, really, is how they're charging it. Now, the president's security detail, right, obviously found this guy, but that's about, the extent of it. The rifle was poking out of the tree line. Not that he was lying in wait for Trump or anything like that, right? On the basis of the foregoing, we can say it's very simple. It's just possession of a firearm and ammunition and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. All this signed and sworn to the judge via FaceTime. Judge signed off on it, and they make a recommendation. So the U.S. Attorney, Mark Despoto, he says that they need pretrial detention on this, so do not let this guy go and hold him in custody. The judge has done that. So you add up the charges here, max penalty, 15 years, 5 years, 20 years is what they're submitting, and that is the document, the criminal complaint that is now being filed against him. So when we go back to the court docket, let's see how this broke down. Now that we know what the charges are, what went down in court today. So the government originally filed the complaint. That lands on the judge's desk. So they didn't have a hearing. So then there's an order, and the government actually came out originally, and when they filed this, they wanted to seal it. So think of all this stuff happening like basically, seconds or minutes apart. Submit the complaint. They want to seal the case. And it's just it's standard, right? They just seal it until the defendant has been arraigned and processed, and then they unseal it. It's almost all happening in this case, almost in real time. Then we see there's a hearing. They grant the motion to seal. And they show up for 10 a.m., right? Show up to be here at 10 a.m. for the initial appearance. So they submit the complaint. It's probably early in the morning, late at night, as soon as the court opens. They schedule the hearing on the same day, 10 a.m., bring him in here, then they come in. Then after the arraignment, or this initial appearance happens, then the government says, okay, now that he has been seen, let's unseal the original complaint, because he's now in front of the judge. The judge grants the order unsealing the documents, and the hearing is now taking place. So the judge is considering several oral motions. One is going to be one for counsel, which we'll come back to here. And then there's also another motion for a detention hearing. So the government is going to say, we need to detain this guy because of the following. He's probably a flight risk, he's a danger to the community, multiple felony convictions. And so they'll come back on that. So there's an oral motion also to continue the detention hearing on a certain date. So the judge is considering all of these things. So then the judge, Ryan, the judge, I think is male, R-Y-O-N, I don't know, maybe that's female.
Midwest!
But then the judge grants the motion to appoint counsel. So then Ryan Wesley is going to be getting a federal public defender. They also grant a detention hearing. That's coming up. And then
the worst
we have
public defenders in the world.
A date set for the detention hearing. Now, at the hearing, here is how the events unfolded. Parties are there. The initial appearance is underway. Attempted Trump shooter Ryan Wesley Ruth in federal custody there at the desk. He stands up, he's present, he's sworn in. Government now makes their arguments. So the prosecutor says, Your Honor, since the defendant is here in court, we move to unseal the complaint. Court says, very well. Mr. Ruth, do you understand the charges against you? Yes. You understand you've been charged with 2 crimes? Yes. The maximum penalty is 15 years, 5 years? Yes. I understand you have a right to a counsel. Regiment said, yes, you do. You also have the right to an attorney, Mr. Ruth. Let's talk about your financial status. Do you have funds to hire an attorney? He says, no, Your Honor, I don't think so. How much money do you make? I don't know, $3,000 a month. Where do you live? I live here. Is there anybody who can help you pay for? No. Okay, so the court finds the defendant, Ruth, to be indigent, which means the judge will be appointing the federal public defender. Now, government, how much time do you need to prepare for the detention hearing? Your Honor, based on the complexity of this case, we think we need 3 days to prepare for this. How about you, public defender, defense representative? Your Honor, we would request 5 days. Well, the defense, let's see where the judge says, well, all right, Mr. Ruth, we're going to be scheduling your detention hearing for 9/23/2024. And you are advised, Mr. Ruth, that you have a right under the Due Process Protection Act to Brady materials, which means if there's any exculpatory evidence or any materials that are going to tend to exonerate you, you're entitled to review those documents. You understand that? Yes. Judge, I do. They were in court for 10 minutes. Total time in court, 10 minutes. We've got new dates scheduled on September 30th. We're going to have the preliminary hearing and an arraignment date. And then a detention hearing is going to be set 1 week from today on 9/23. Judge goes out 1 week and then another week. And orders the government, as usual, this is standard. If you are government, reminder that you have a continuing duty that if you have any exculpatory evidence, like if Liz Cheney was behind this or something, you should tell us. The government has a duty to disclose that. The defendant is entitled to this information without a request. If you do not disclose exculpatory information, then this case can be dismissed against you. Signed by the judge, Ryan McCabe. So then we get an actual public defender who is assigned to this. Shout out to attorney Christy Militello. She is now on this case, and her appearance So in court, looks like Hector Dopico was there, and then Christy Militello. Actually, no, this is the interim public defender, so he's the chief guy. And then Christy Militello got the case assigned. I don't know if she was in court there today. She may have been. But here is... So these are her filings right out of the gate. Anytime you get a new case, there's kind of a standard set of motions you file just to get the stuff moving, the paperwork moving. So she invoked the right to silence and the right to counsel, and she's also demanding a disclosure of their expert witness summaries. So you can see this is what she has demanded here, and it's just a basic notice saying the defendant here files this notice for a disclosure of your witness summaries as you're required to do under the rules, signed by Christy Militello, public defender, who's now going to be representing Ryan Ruth, the second Trump assassin who has now emerged onto the field. And so President Trump has responded to this, says, "I would like to thank everyone for your concern and well wishes. It was certainly an interesting day. Now, most importantly, I want to thank the U.S. Secret Service, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, and his office of brave and dedicated patriots, and all of law enforcement for the incredible job done today at Trump International in keeping me, as the 45th President of the United States and the Republican nominee in the upcoming election, safe. The job done was absolutely outstanding. I'm very proud to be an American." And yeah, this one was much better. I mean, we certainly have questions as to how this guy got so close. We talked earlier on our member stream this morning about how the club is in fact a private club. It's not a public club. And so you don't generally get access to this location without permission. So where specifically did this guy get access? It's 4.5 miles away from Trump's residence in Mar-a-Lago. It's got 27 holes there. It's a private club. And he was apparently there for 12 hours. Are there other people doing rounds? Is this a public walkway? A lot of questions about it. But Trump is okay. And the man that he was with, Steve Witkoff, says, "Yesterday was a day I'll never forget. I watched my very close friend, Donald Trump, the president, be his typical strong, courageous, and stoic self. Concerned about his friends first before thinking of himself. That is the truest example of leadership. To the Secret Service and the agent in charge, thank you for your immediate action and interdiction, which clearly prevented a much more terrible result. I know President Trump's truth, which, as I said at the RNC, continues to march on. Now, I have personally witnessed his courage under fire, and that is a man who inspires me." And you know what's so interesting about this is that the media has largely kind of scoffed at this. It feels like, well, a lot of people on X are, well, I mean, he didn't really hit him, so who cares? It's interesting to think that we've accelerated to that point where assassination attempts are just less important than Taylor Swift or something. But that's where the party is. It's because they're fearful that it's going to help President Trump because it is counter to their narrative. They're the ones saying that Trump is going to cause the downfall of American democracy. What it looks like in reality is it's them who's doing the destroying. Now we've got more. There was a press
appetite for destruction
in the aftermath. All the law enforcement officials got together to provide an update on the latest out of Florida after Trump was almost assassinated again. A lone gunman,
two ponytail piggies,
seated 300 to 500 yards away with a gun barrel poking out until the Secret Service intervened. But they have now brought everybody together, and we'll poke through this press conference and listen to what went down today. This one's fresh out of the oven. And we'll see there were a bunch of faces there. We have the sheriff, who is giving us an update from the local law enforcement. The DOJ U.S. attorney is providing an update. We'll also notice this is an FBI agent called Veltri providing some details. And as we fast forward, look who's going to show up here. It's Ronald Rowe, the acting director of the Secret Service, who has come in to replace Kimberly Cheadle. And this is his second assassination attempt that he's got to deal with. And what's so funny about this is they're calling it an apparent assassination attempt. An apparent assassination attempt. You see that? And I don't know what's really apparent or not apparent about it. I don't know what else he was doing there. Was he hunting for elk? Was he hunting for alligators in Florida? Was he looking for the gun range? Was he just taking a nap? I don't know what he was doing. But it seems like, based on his record and his mental state, that he may have been there to assassinate the president. I don't know what other motivations you can infer on that one. But it's going to be apparent. Just like it was apparently maybe just shrapnel that shot Trump in the head the first time around. They really have a hard time at the FBI trying to figure this stuff out. What's very obvious to the rest of us, what seems like clear as day, it's only apparent to the FBI. They can't really figure it out. So let's see how this press briefing went down. This is the sheriff from Florida, local police. We'll listen to this at 1.25 speed so that we can get through it with a little bit more rapidly. And here is the local law enforcement explaining what happened.
With me is the U.S. Attorney, the FBI, Secret Service. Just to give you a little information, as you well know, the road down there on still blocked off. It will be blocked off probably for the remainder of the day and probably a good portion of tomorrow until some of the investigative things need to be done and finished. But we're accommodating people in and out, getting into the library, getting into the post office, so the public is not going to be that inconvenience. The security level at Mar-a-Lago is the highest it can possibly be. The road closures are back in place and will remain there. Checkpoints are in place. And my commitment to the Secret Service is to give them every possible resource for PBSO once they determine the level of security that they need to be able to get all the resources possible. So having said that, I'll let you talk to the instructor. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mark Hensley Lemoyne. I'm the United States Attorney for Florida. I want to start by expressing my deep gratitude to Sheriff Vic Bradshaw, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, for hosting today's press conference and for his department's assistance with this matter.
Grouping buddies.
I'm also pleased to be joined by partners and federal lawyers from the FBI and United States Secret Service, and also from the TF. Joining us today for comments from Los Angeles, Special Agent in charge, Jeff Deltro of the FBI, Office, and Acting Director of the U.S. Secret Service, John Rowe. I want to also compliment the law enforcement that we are working around the clock in the initial phase of this ongoing investigation. The partners in control of local authorities who are effectually the apprehension of the term and have aided in ensuring federal charges will not be incident this morning. We need to announce that Brian Wesley Ralph, 58 years old, has been charged by the criminal in the Southern District of Florida with firearms offenses related to an incident which occurred yesterday at Trump International Golf Course right in West Palm Beach. Ralph was charged federally with possession of a firearm by a local felon and possession of the receipt of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. He had his initial appearance today before Magistrate Judge Brian McCabe in the federal courthouse in West Palm Beach. According to the allegations of the complaint, a U.S. Secret Service agent walking the golf course in River saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the shoulder. After he had fired a service weapon in the direction of the rifle, the witness saw a man later identified as Witness Scope and a black plastic bag containing food. The serial number on the rifle was available. According to the complaint, Ralph was convicted of felonies in North Carolina in December 2002 and March 2010, and therefore was prohibited from possessing a firearm. The FBI is leading this investigation, ongoing investigation. As the Attorney General stated earlier today, the FBI is continuing its investigation of this incident as an assassination of the former president. The investigation remains at its early stages. The entire Justice Department, including the FBI, unable to care for our mission without invaluable assistance of federal, state, and local law enforcement. I'd like to thank Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, U.S. Special Agent Charge, and the Secret Service for the invaluable assistance they provide. I'd also like to recognize the Congress family of our sheriff's offices for our very defense. Again, without local services members, it would be really impossible. I want to personally express my gratitude to the utilities with the district office.
All right, yes, we know. Everybody's amazing.
Good afternoon. Quick introduction. My name is Jeffrey FBI Special Agent in Charge for the Nuclear Office. The FBI immediately responded to the scene here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We are investigating this matter as an apparent assassination attempt.
It's not apparent. It's obvious.
We view this as extremely serious and are determined to provide answers as to what led up to the events which took place. I want to emphasize we're just a little over 24 hours into this investigation, so we're going to provide as much as we can publicly while our investigation is still ongoing. We must also stress that the United States Attorney's Office is pursuing charges, and that limits some of the details that can be discussed publicly. Yesterday afternoon, Martin County Sheriff's Office took custody of Ryan Ralph, and he was transported back to Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Our FBI agents then attempted to interview him, and he invoked his right to an attorney. In the last 24 hours, the FBI and our partners have been dedicated to investigating the incident and utilizing all available resources. These efforts have included our investigative team from the United States Attorney's Office within the Southern District of Florida, in conjunction with DOJ's National Security Division, are actively working hand in hand to pursue and subsequently execute search warrants. Thus far, the warrants include a video recording device, subjects' cellular devices, a vehicle, and other electronic devices located at previous known addresses. We are coordinating with the United States Secret Service to complete numerous interviews of agents on scene. We have also interviewed 7 civilian witnesses at the scene.
Wow.
And that is just the beginning. Our FBI's Honolulu and Charlotte field offices have initiated interviews of several family members, friends, and former colleagues of the subject. FBI has deployed several specialty teams to us and ASA headquarters and our lab division in Quantico to include evidence. This team is collecting and processing multiple evidentiary items. These range from the rifle, which is an SKS model with a scope and obliterated serial numbers, to 2 bags, the subject's electronics, and what appears to be ceramic tiles. DNA has also been collected from those items, which are being sent to Quantico for testing. We will also process the subject's vehicle for evidence.
Bulletproof tiles?
Cellular analysis survey team, what we refer to as
bullet resistant,
conducted thorough analysis of the subject's cellular device locations. CAS analysis aligns with witnesses' account of the subject's presence at the scene, both before and around the time of the incident on September 15th. More specifically, we're continuing to conduct analysis and will be compiling the subject's movements in the days and months leading up to September 15th. Cellular data shows that the subject was in the vicinity of the golf course roughly 12 hours before the engagement with the United States Secret Service. Our investigative teams conducted a neighborhood canvass in an effort to collect and obtain relevant video footage. The subject had an active online presence, and we are going through what he posted and any searches he conducted online. In addition, we're going through media reports and public statements he made that he wanted to recruit Afghan soldiers and others to fight for Ukraine. The FBI has sent multiple requests to companies for returns on the subject's phone and social media accounts. We received several returns and are waiting on additional responses from other companies as well. Our investigative team is concluding analysis of the returns, and action leads as needed. We anticipate continuing until the FBI knows the full totality of the subject's. So I can also share with you that he was the subject of a previously closed 2019 tip to the FBI where it was alleged he was a felon in possession.
So the feds knew about him for sure in 2019 because they got a tip about him.
Following up on the tip, the alleged complainant was interviewed and did not verify Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Martin County Sheriff's Office for their incredible work.
Yes, they're amazing, yes. Yes, we know, yes. Call tips, okay.
Reminded of the heightened and dynamic threat environment the United States Secret Service and its protectees face on a daily basis. Immediately following the assassination attempt of former President Donald J. Trump on July 13th,
The Secret Service moved to increase assets to an already enhanced security posture for the former president. In the days that followed, President Biden made it clear that he wanted the highest levels of protection for former President Trump and for Vice President increases in assets and the level of protection sought. And those things were in place yesterday. At approximately 1:30 p.m. International Golf Course. Secret Service advance agents supporting on the public side of the fence near the 6th green. A layered approach of security is integral to the Secret Service's protective methodologies, and it's also the key to our success. As former President Trump was moving through the 5th fairway across the course and out of sight of the 6th green, the agent who was visually sweeping the area of the 6th green saw the subject his firearm. The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agents.
Yeah, so I guess the theory is that he was lying in wait. Trump was going to end on hole 5, go over to hole 6. He was sitting there. Trump would be in the tee box, and he would just start firing rounds down range.
With reports of gunfire, the former president's close protection detail immediately evacuated the president to a safe location.
And compare and contrast that versus J13 as well. Why didn't any officer just start popping off there, right? On J13 in Butler, just start firing off into the sky. 1, 2, 3, that universal warning symbol. Everybody jumps onto Trump, and that's the end. No one gets shot. But they didn't do that here. Now they fired first, asked questions later. Interesting how that changed after Butler.
Protective methodologies of the Secret Service were effective yesterday. The former president's protective apparatus allowed for the early identification.
Sorry, I'd rather they ask questions.
Led to a safe evacuation.
Later.
The increased assets directed by President Biden were in place yesterday. These included the counter-sniper team elements, counter-surveillance counter-surveillance agents on the exterior, counter-assault teams partnered with local tactical assets from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and counter-unmanned aerial system elements. All of these entities were present yesterday. And while all of these assets were in place, as I've said publicly, we must satisfy the basic requirements of the Secret Service's protective methodologies. In partnership with local law enforcement, we did just that. And the agents' hypervigilance and the detailed swift action was textbook. And I commend them and our partners for an exemplary response in keeping former President Trump safe. And I will tell you, having served in local law enforcement in Palm Beach County, I can state that I am tremendously impressed and appreciative for all the efforts of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Snyder at the Martin County Sheriff's Office. But what was critical to this was the quick reaction, the response, the hypervigilance of the men and women of the United States Secret Service, who since July 13th have been rising to meet an unprecedented and hyper-dynamic threat environment.
Why is that threat the way it is?
And I could not be more proud of them and the way they have executed, not only yesterday, but what they're doing today, what they are doing tomorrow, and what they will always do, because it is their duty. Thank you.
All right, so they did do a better job than Butler. There's no question about that. Like if you're gonna give them grades, this is better for sure. No one died on this one, and the Secret Service were shooting at the guy, but they didn't even hit him. You know, right? I mean, nobody died. But in the other one, definitely someone died. This one there were shrubs, but on the other one there were sloped roofs. So one's a little different. Slope roofs are like level 10 like evil bosses, but shrubs are a little bit more manageable. So Sheriff comes back, questions. How did they know Trump was going to be there?
So at this time, there was an off-the-record meeting. It was not on the former president's official schedule. And what I go back to is the layered approach. The elements and the methodologies of the Secret Service.
Those logs.
There was a front element. It did its job.
Expensive logs there.
That's what identified this individual who was in the gun line. And the swift action of that agent doing his job.
But how did he know to be there?
Sweeping while the president was behind him.
Is the question.
Several holes away, out of sight from the gunman, did his job, and that was what alerted the detail and the swift action. Based on what I know now, it's an active investigation. I don't have any information on So this was an off-the-record movement. It wasn't a site that was on his schedule. It wasn't part of his schedule. So there was no posting up of it because it wasn't supposed to.
So how did he know to be there?
Have you briefed former President Trump on the planning so far? Has his campaign asked for any changes in his security going forward after yesterday?
I've had a conversation with the former president. We've explained and we've worked with the campaign. The president is aware that he has the highest levels of protection at the Secret Service.
No changes specifically action.
We constantly evaluate based off of it. And yesterday what we show is that our agents and our protective methodologies, a lot of tactical assets in place, things that have been put in place as a result of what happened 60 days ago, those elements are working, and that demonstrates the redundancies that we have. And so we constantly evaluate. We'll, of course, look at this and see what lessons learned from it. But as of right now, we are constantly evaluating that from it. If we need to ratchet up additionally,
do we know when Brown arrived in Florida in general, when he arrived in Palm Beach area? Specifically, if he's been at the golf course prior to this
FBI guy. Veltri.
The sheriff mentioned about the highest level of protection, that they would lock down the golf course. Was that a miscommunication then, being that President Biden ordered the highest level of protection?
So here's the deal. When it comes to Secret Service protection, we provide the highest level. So, for example, yesterday, counter-assault team elements. I'm not going to go into the number of personnel that we have out there, but we have the highest levels across Secret Service. When we work with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, like, for example, yesterday, during that emergency action response, we had their local tactical team assets partnered with our local tactical team assets. We had their helicopter up in the air, providing us 360 in situational awareness of the overhead, ready if there were any potential threats coming to us. So what we did yesterday was exercise our emergency plan based on the number of tactical assets and the highest level of protection that we are providing. The sheriff and I have talked. Clearly, when you go down Southern Boulevard right now, and you try to get over to Palm Beach, and you see the robust presence that's existing outside of Mar-a-Lago, the heavy uniform presence, the additional assets of the Secret Service. For those of you that were here in 2017, when the president was in office, look at that footprint now, and you look at it today, there's not much difference there. There's heavy uniform presence out there, and again,
now.
Yesterday was off the record. Off the record.
Yeah, afterwards.
President was supposed to go there, it was not on his official schedule.
So
put together a security plan, and that security plan worked.
Okay, so I understand why he's bringing this up. The president wasn't supposed to go there, so we weren't as prepared as we might have otherwise been. And so it was an impromptu golf outing. Oh, crap. Secure everything, all right? So now it's like this bubble that's kind of moving around with him rather than advanced preparation. So I get it as to why it wasn't more secure, but it begs the question. How did the other guy know about it? Was he just waiting there? Was he going to be camping there for like a week until Trump showed up? Or did someone give him a little inside knowledge? Someone sent him a little message. You know, those messages that somehow delete themselves from the Secret Service records? Hey, Trump's heading over to go golfing. He's like, oh, perfect. I'll be there in the morning. Or when did Trump make the decision? I think that would give us some context. When did Trump make the decision he was going golfing? Was it that morning and it was just a coincidence, right? So that guy shows up at 1:12 in the morning. He's hanging out all morning long. And then Trump decides 9 o'clock, hey, what do you want to do today? You know, I feel like golfing today. He goes, blows some steam off, go golf. We're going to golf with Steve and hang out. They say at 9 o'clock, okay, POTUS is making a deviation to the schedule. He's not going to that event. He's going to be going over to the course. Then they send a bunch of people over, and the shooter's just lying in wait, just happens to be there. What a coincidence.
The person was seeing the city,
More money.
We are working. Secret Service operates on zero fail mission, but also that we have done more to us for decades. This goes back.
rounds, dude. You're like, you got one assassination attempt where Trump got hit. So that one is out. Okay, that one's out. Whatever the methodologies were there were terrible. F- on that one. This one's like a C. I mean, they got him. That's good. But like, they didn't fly a helicopter over with little infrared scanning or something to see if some demented dude is hiding out in the bushes somewhere or something like that. It's very interesting. But he's very happy with themselves, and they need more money and resources. Maybe they'll build them a new headquarters building too.
But now, in this dynamic threat environment, it has given me guidance to say, you know what, we need to look at what our protective methodology is. We need to get out of a reactive model and get to a readiness model. There could be another geopolitical event that could put the United States into a kinetic conflict or some other issue that may result in additional responsibilities and protectees of the United States Secret Service. And so we are working, making information available to all of our partners. And I just want to say that the commitment of Congress and the Secret Service throughout the years has been tremendous. We will continue to work with them and Secretary Mayorkas, whose support in making sure that we're getting what we need has been phenomenal. He's one of our biggest champions. And so we're having these conversations, and I feel confident that we will get what we need. We have immediate needs, we have future needs too. I need to make sure that our counter-snipers are the best trained counter-snipers in the world. That they are exactly doing what we need them to do, and that they match. Make sure for service right now, we are redlining them. And they are rising to this moment, and they are meeting the challenges to security event. You saw the National Constitution Center last week. What you saw was pretty much a mini national special security event with a number of assets that were on that perimeter. And so our folks are rising to this moment, and it requires all of us to be able to have good conversations and make sure
I don't believe you.
Where it needs to be.
And give us more money.
Yeah. Because we don't have.
Got it.
We don't have information. Our investigation is still. How was he able to get away? That's it. I can't do any more. I've got a lot of information. Last thing I will tell you is, President called me last night. Thank you for everything that we did along with the Secret Service.
What a nice guy.
We worked great together, and he feels safe. That's important, because he is. What we did yesterday proves that the system can work. Because the suspect didn't even get close to getting the door, and we apprehended him, warranted justice. So we're very, very proud of that. Thank you folks for being here. I appreciate it. How do you pronounce his last name?
All right, so that's the press briefing. I know the audio was a little rough on that. My apologies. Thanks for bearing with us as we listen to it. But some details out of there, I guess, that they want. This is Ryan Ruth being hauled into Palm Beach County Jail. Here's some scenery.
Ryan Ruth walked into that federal courtroom this morning smiling, shackled by his hands and feet. He was even seen laughing while speaking to his court-appointed attorney. Now, the judge presented two different charges: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and a possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Combined, the judge says he could face 20 years in prison and $500,000 in fines. Fox is told additional federal charges are possible, but we understand that these charges presented today will keep him in jail. Now, Ruth told the judge that he only makes about $3,000 a month with no assets other than 2 trucks in Hawaii. The sheriff said yesterday when Ruth was arrested, his demeanor was perplexing. And that continued today in the courtroom when he was smiling and laughing.
Made the stop and then at gunpoint ordered him out of the vehicle. He perplexing in some way, despite the fact that we had numerous people out with rifles, uniformed personnel, a helicopter.
And we are just getting our hands on the affidavit, and a couple of things stood out to me. He said he was driving a car with stolen plates. Of course, he fled the scene, and officers were able to pull him over and arrest him on I-95. And then also, Ruth's mobile phone was detected in the area at 2 a.m., so the night before this happened, until 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Now, Ruth is being held in the Palm Beach County Jail and is expected in court for his next appearance on...
Look at all of these record. Looks like he may have gotten probation on some of these items, sentence. And these are coming, it looks like, from North Carolina. Is this where this is coming from? And multiple criminal convictions, consolidated for judgment, multiple driving on a suspended license, driving on a revoked license, other misdemeanors. This was the big one. Possession of weapons of mass destruction. So we don't know exactly what that was. But that was back from 2002, April 23rd. And he got, looks like, convicted of a felony on that one. That was even in the affidavit from the FBI. So the federal government is responding. Kamala Harris has responded. She said, Trump and his property in Florida, and I'm glad he is safe. Unless they're burning down the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis. Then she'll support them getting out on bail. She's okay with those. Alleged president was out, and he got asked about the greatest threat to American democracy since the Civil War. The man who might end America as we know it. Wow. He wants him to be okay? All right, so that's our demented president, gone. Now, we also have Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, saying that we are going to be doing our own investigation. He says he knows the feds are looking into this, but Florida is going to be conducting its own investigation about what happened at the golf club. Says the people deserve the truth about the would-be assassin and how he would be able to get within 500 yards of the former president and the current GOP nominee. How's that happen? Well, we don't know. Secret Service is trying really hard, but they're struggling. They've got reporting that Garland came out with a statement.
A statement from the Attorney General Merrick Garland. As you know, former President Trump has often blamed Biden-Harris for what he calls the weaponization of the Justice Department.
Yeah,
again,
that's what we say
proof.
too.
This is a statement from DOJ. The FBI is continuing to investigate what appears to be an assassination attempt of former President Trump that occurred yesterday in Florida. We are grateful that the former president is there in this investigation. Have a statement.
Okay, so, that's America's sharing an interview.
All the way to Trump International, realize that the president, former president of the United States, is golfing and is able to get a rifle in that vicinity. I think that's the question the FBI, the Secret Service are laser focused on today. Is this guy part of a conspiracy? Is he a lone gunman? If he's a lone gunman, President Trump is that much safer because we have him. But if he's part of a conspiracy, then this whole thing really takes on a very ominous tone.
Yeah, you're right about that. If there is a conspiracy, then it takes an ominous tone. If there is one, that would be a big problem, wouldn't it? More and more evidence seems to mount that there is a conspiracy. There's a bunch of people who would be very happy if somebody took Trump out. It's a sick thing to say, but they're even saying it in public. They're even saying it in the open. And you can see some of it on X if you want to see some sick folks out there. They're there. But we're going to continue to cover this, my friends. More assassinations. We are very grateful that this time nobody got killed and that the Secret Service was seemingly ahead of the tragedy, but it was extremely close. And of course, as the investigation continues, as the court case develops, more documents will be filed. We'll be here covering it. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for liking this video, and thanks for coming back the next time we're live. We'll look forward to seeing you back here on the next one. Now, we're not done here yet. We've got one final story to talk about. It's about an assassination, not about the second assassination. We're finally getting some eyes on what went down with the first assassination, but now we've got a new report. Senator Josh Hawley has released a whistleblower report detailing what happened in the first assassination. Now we're on assassination attempt number 2. But the first one still had a lot of problems that have yet to be resolved. And so this report has now dropped from Josh Hawley's office. He's on the Committee of Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. We are going to go through it, see what's inside, and see what Melania has to say about the Fourth Amendment and the U.S. Constitution. Because and the FBI. But here's what Hawley said. Before he released the whistleblower report, he says that the Secret Service is not giving documents to Congress. They're demanding documents, but they don't want to share with the American people what they've done here. Here's the senator.
Yeah, see, this is what's so hard. If this individual had failed one or more of her training exams, if she was known not to be really one of the Secret Service's top agent, she's in the Pittsburgh office, why was she put in charge of the entire trip, Jesse? I mean, the whole thing, the Secret Service, not to comply with document requests to Congress. I mean, this is really getting to be outrageous.
When they tried to take him out in Butler. Here's the summary from this. Following this catastrophic failure, the Secret Service and the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, they've all tried to evade real accountability. These agencies and their leaders, they've slow-walked congressional investigations, they've misled the American people, and they've shirked responsibility. And so in response, Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri personally visited the site in Butler, interviewed whistleblowers, opened up a whistleblower tip line, and encouraged those to tell their stories. Now, since then, many individuals have come forward with details, including people from the Secret Service, from DHS, from local law enforcement, and private citizens as well. He says these results are highly damaging to the credibility of the Secret Service and to Homeland. They reveal a compounding pattern of negligence, sloppiness, gross incompetence that goes back years, all of which resulted in this assassination attempt almost succeeding. We've got major problems. The Secret Service and their counter-surveillance division, which performs threat assessments of event sites, did not perform a typical evaluation of the site in Butler and wasn't even there. The personnel also declined multiple offers from a local law enforcement partner to release the drones, despite the fact that the assassin used the drones himself, Thomas Crooks. Now, the Secret Service also told agents in charge not to request additional security resources. They abandoned the rooftop on top of the building, and the lead site agent was known to be totally incompetent. And so let's get into the report itself. You can see the table of contents is here as follows, but in the summary of the report we just read through, there's more beyond it. Here's the background. They say on July 13th, we know what happened. Thomas Crooks was on top of the glass building. Trump was there speaking to the crowd. From roughly 400 feet away, Crooks fired 8 rounds. Trump was struck, immediately evacuated. He paused to reassure the crowd. Fight, fight, fight. Congress created the Secret Service, and in 2023, they got $3 billion. Oh my gosh. Yet despite these vast resources, they couldn't even cover a stinking roof. So Senator Josh Hawley is investigated. Here's the timeline of the events. In the morning, Crooks takes his dad's AR, buys 50 rounds of ammo and a ladder, drives to the rally. 4:30, counter sniper texts his colleague, says someone snuck in and parked by our cars. They should have been alerted, and they were alerted at that moment. 5:06, Crooks was videotaped outside. State or local law enforcement then identified Crooks at 5:10 as a suspicious person, right? And then at 5:32, they see him with a rangefinder. Then at 5:38, they notify, if you want to notify the Secret Service to look out, I lost sight of this suspect with a rangefinder. Then at 5:46, local law enforcement notifies Secret Service that there was a suspicious person. Now, they just dilly-dallied for the rest of the day. Then at 5:51, they found Crooks was observed with a rangefinder. They notify Secret Service about this. Then at 6:02, Crooks is observed on the building. Then at 6:03, Trump takes the stage. Then at 6:08, They see Crooks on the building. At 6:10, Butler Township attempts to climb the roof, hoisted by another officer. Crooks aims his rifle. Officer releases his grips, falls, and then about 24 seconds later, Crooks begins firing his rifle. FBI says 8 rounds in total. And so you see, this is the breakdown of the location. Trump was speaking right here to the crowd. Bleacher 1 was here, Bleacher 2 on the other side, Bleacher 3 on the other side, Bleacher 2 behind the president. Secret Service sniper teams on the buildings, location of the shooter's body over here. And there was one Secret Service sniper shooting this direction, another this direction. And what you hear in the background is pipe repair and drywall guy, because we had a leaky pipe explode in the walls, and he's making sure that that is being fixed soon. And it sounds like he's using the shop vac very loudly right now, which is inconvenient for the show, but very important for the drywall. So there are whistleblower allegations. There are whistleblower allegations. They say since July 13th, many credible whistleblowers have approached Senator Hawley with pertinent information. And he published a bunch of these letters. Some were addressed to Alejandro Mayorkas and to Director Ronald Rowe, Director of the Secret Service. Now, this section details various allegations reported to Senator Hawley and the responses that he received from the other branches, or the lack thereof. Now, on July 19th, 2024, Senator Hawley wrote a letter to Mayorkas about credible allegations from a whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Butler event. Here are the allegations. The whistleblower said that on the J13th rally, it was considered to be a, quote, loose security event. Specifically, they say the following. They say there were no detection canines that were brought out to monitor or detect the threats. Individuals without proper designations were able to gain access to backstage areas. So people could just kind of come and go as they want. Homeland personnel failed to properly police the 5-foot security buffer near the stage and allowed the people to move barricades around the buffer. Personnel were also not stationed at regular intervals around the security perimeter, and so it was kind of like it was a free-for-all. The whistleblower further alleged that Homeland was working the rally were actually not Homeland. They were HSI people. So Homeland Security, they were not even Secret Service agents. They were just HSI people. Now, Hawley demanded information. He sent a letter on July 19th. He wanted to know how they staffed this, what percentage of the staff, which was HSI versus Secret Service, were a majority of the officers at the event drawn from Homeland or other components? Were agents properly trained in staffing these types of events? And so on. But then we know more. There was another letter that was sent to Mayorkas, and in these allegations, they say it was too hot to get on the roof. The whistleblower alleged that there was supposed to be a law enforcement presence on the roof of AGR Building 6. Now, they alleged that at least one individual was posted to the roof for the duration of the rally, but it was abandoned because it was too dang hot. It was sloped and hot. Now, the whistleblower further alleged that concerns over the heat prompted law enforcement to bail. At the Senate hearing, Hawley questioned Director Rowe. He said, well, I heard that they were posted inside. I think moving forward, we're going to ensure that state and local counter snipers are on the roof. Says we're looking into this, that they'll be on the roof next time. Local law enforcement has disputed the whistleblower's report. The law enforcement abandoned the post on the roof, stating that they were assigned to be inside the building, right? So Ronald Rowe came out and said, why didn't they just look? Didn't they look? Disputed it. Now, here is an exchange. Apparently, there was a miscommunication between the Secret Service and local law enforcement. Here's how that exchange went. About 10 minutes after the shooting, another officer arrived at the warehouse and said to a fellow officer, I thought you guys were on the roof. I thought it was you. I thought it was you. No, came the reply with an explanation that no, it wasn't us. No one was on the roof. We didn't have anybody on the roof. What the F? The officer said. Why were we not on the roof? Why weren't we? Federal law enforcement officials have said the Secret Service thought local law enforcement officers, including snipers, were supposed to secure the building that Crooks was on. However, a local law enforcement official involved in the event planning previously said that the tactical team's heads told the Secret Service during the walkthrough that its snipers would be inside the building on its second floor. So the Secret Service knew no one was going to be on the roof. Butler's team didn't want the snipers on the roof because they would have been exposed to temperatures over 90 degrees throughout the day, they said. So we're not putting people on the roof. The Secret Service should have known that. Now, relatedly, Colonel Christopher Paris testified during a hearing that there were 2 other people in the second floor, but the Butler County District Attorney disputed that claim. He asserted that only one counter sniper briefly left the building but returned to his post. So 2 snipers in those building windows did not leave, only one did. And there's disagreements about that. Now, in his July 22nd letter, Hawley also requested the following information. He said, if the whistleblower's allegations are accurate, when did this person abandon the post, and so on. There's also questions about the Secret Service coverage and why the Secret Service declined to bring the drones when drones were requested. And the Counter Surveillance Division was also not present at the Butler rally. So why was the Counter Surveillance Division not there? More information was requested. More information was declined. Now here's an interesting one about this total incompetent who apparently was working at the Secret Service. We also have questions. Hawley wrote to Director Rowe about multiple whistleblowers. One whistleblower says that the Secret Service's lead site agent, the agent with responsibility in total, was known to lack competence and to lack experience. The whistleblower claimed that this agent was responsible for mitigating line of sight concerns. Total moron. You're like, yeah, put her or him in charge. A separate whistleblower alleged that the lead site agent personally made decisions that likely compromised the event. For example, campaign material such as flags were permitted to be placed around the stage, despite the fact that they're normally prohibited because of line of sight problems. The Secret Service also did not check IDs when issuing credentials that authorize access to restricted areas of the site, contrary to typical practice. This is a question that we brought up a long time ago on this. There were Secret Service snipers, and then there were local law enforcement snipers. And our question at the time was, who's vetting any of these people, right? No disrespect to the local cops, but it's just like they're sending text messages like, hey, bro, can you do sniper duty on Fridays? Like, oh, let me check, it's sniper duty. I'm free for it. And it's like, do they just show up with their guns and put them on a roof somewhere? Is the Secret Service even looking? Apparently not. So they weren't even checking IDs, so anybody could just walk right in there. Apparently somebody did even at some event. Remember that other Secret Service event where that woman was like breastfeeding or something with her whole family? Anyways, in August, Hawley asked for information about this person and about people who were placed on administrative leave, but hasn't gotten answers. Now, the report also says that they were denied additional manpower resources. Wants to know why. They said all resources were approved for Trump, but according to the whistleblower, they say no, they were not. They were denied. Another whistleblower says the DHS agents assigned to Butler also got inadequate training, right? They just put like the dumbest people they could find from Homeland. Everybody who flunked out of Homeland school, I just put them on the Trump detail. Yeah, we don't want to fire them, just put them over there. There's also new whistleblower allegations. Several new ones. The lead agent responsible, including the rally, failed a key examination during their law enforcement training to become a Secret Service agent and was known to be a low-caliber agent. It's terrible. Someone's dead as a result. It's not funny. They put the dumbest person in charge, right? Like, you're responsible for this. If you put somebody who's not capable in charge of something that they should be capable, you have a standard of care to make sure that that person, it's like, you don't put someone without a license behind the wheel of a car, or you don't have someone without a CDL drive a big rig. You got to be competent in order to do the job. And so if they put in some moron, like, hey, It's Trump. Just protect Trump. Just make sure he doesn't get shot. Yes, sir, I can do it. Secret Service intelligence units, teams of Secret Service agents paired with the state were absent from the rally, and the hospital site was also poorly secured. The Secret Service site agent responsible for hospital security did not even know what's going on. Trump could have been taken out at the hospital. So a lot of questions. Who made the decision to deny counter-sniper coverage? Who was responsible for approving communications? Who within the Secret Service created and communicated with law enforcement partners? Did any law enforcement agents abandon their assigned posts, and why? Why were resources requested at the rally? And were these resources requested? What was Crooks' motive for the attempted assassination? What did he say in his encrypted messaging applications? He says 2 months now have elapsed since Trump was nearly assassinated, and the American people still know way too little about what happened. Instead, it's been left to courageous whistleblowers to get information from the whistleblowers, not from our own government. It says if left alone, these agencies are not going to reform themselves. They're going to continue to stonewall and obfuscate the truth. In the months and years to come, Senator Hawley will continue to fight to hold everybody accountable. And so there's a nice appendix here on the J13th timeline and events from Senator Josh Hawley. And that's the assassination attempt on J13. But is the FBI going to get to the bottom of that? They're not even investigating the Secret Service. Not even investigating whether maybe there's a mole or somebody who was allowing the failures of security to happen inside the agencies themselves. They were only looking at Thomas Crooks, and of course Thomas Crooks is now dead. Isn't that convenient? So not much more to investigate when he's dead. But Melania Trump has some questions about our government. It seems like she posted this referencing the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment. The same FBI that's investigating assassination attempt number 1 and assassination attempt number 2 is the same FBI agency that raided Melania's bedroom and Barron's bedroom and Trump's residence. And they did it on the back of an illegitimate case that was brought by an illegal prosecutor. Here's what Melania posted on X.
I never imagined my privacy would be invaded by the government here in America. The FBI raided my home in Florida and searched through my personal belongings.
Yep.
This is not just my story. It serves as a warning to all Americans. A reminder that our freedom and rights must be respected.
Nice. Melania's entering the game. And I hope she's very vocal about this story because we have been making an appropriate deal out of the violation of her civil liberties and Barron's civil liberties and Trump's civil liberties and ours. Every time they gag Trump, we don't get to hear from him. That's our right as Americans to hear from our leaders. They're gagging us in the process. But the fact that she's going to come out and explain how it feels to have disgusting government thugs come in and ransack your property, you don't even understand, right? Unless you've had that happen to you, and I have not, but I've seen other people have that happen to them who are innocent, who had nothing to do with anything, and it's a disgusting violation, and the cops and the feds and the people who do it think that they're on the side of justice in most cases, and sometimes they are. In this case, they were not. They were operating on the behalf of a partisan, weaponized, disgusting federal government. And if you had any doubts about how bad and how corrupt things
about 30 minutes from the office in Cleveland, I got to install a desktop.
Explain it himself.
About the failures of the Secret Service in this assassination attempt of the former president. But I think they also ought to be appalled and astonished by the failure of the Department of Homeland Security to be more forthcoming, to be as candid and frank as it should be to them in terms of providing information. And we are going to absolutely insist on the truth and the whole truth in documents and testimony
What's that?
Is that report coming today or tomorrow?
That's right.
Is that report coming out tonight or tomorrow?
No.
Report's not coming out anytime soon, but I imagine he's right. We are going to be shocked and appalled when it is released, because they have been obfuscating, obscuring the truth for months now. They don't want us to know what happened, which is there was, in my opinion, complicity to enable the death of Trump. And the cover-up is underway right now. They go from the event, just like they deleted the January 6th text messages, because the FBI knows if we see it, we'll be disgusted by what they're doing, what the Secret Service is doing, what Homeland is doing as they continue their political prosecutions. And now, enablement of death against their political opponents. And so, my friends, it's been a beautiful stream. If you're just joining us, we covered some good ground today. We went through the full criminal complaint of Ryan Ruth, who is the new second attempted assassin of President Trump. Read through that full document that was drafted by the FBI Special Agent Mark A. Thomas. We also went through the full press briefing that the AP recorded for us that took place in Florida today. A bunch of people were there. U.S. Attorney, we had the FBI Miami was there, the local sheriff was there, and Acting Director Ronald Rowe was there. And then we went through Senator Josh Hawley's whistleblower report that was dropped from his office, which provides some more details on what happened on January 13th. And now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. Let's see what you say about all of this. I see some great donos. Thank you so much for sending these in. Thanks for bearing with us as we have some construction being wrapped up here. We had a pipe burst, which is why we're here. We're not in our regular studio shop. We had a pipe burst, explode, water everywhere. I don't know if it was the J6 pipe bomber. I don't know if it was Christopher Wray or Liz Cheney or whatever was crawling around in our pipe tubes here, but it's being repaired. The wall is going to be so dry as soon as they're done here. And we've got baseboards that are coming in next, and then paint, and hopefully we'll be done this week. And then we'll be back in our studio, maybe, if we can get it done. But thanks for being here, my friends, and thanks for bearing with us as we go through it. But my friends, we had some great donos and some great comments in the house. What's up? Corrections 101 is here. Corrections 101 says, you've been here for 3 months and we already have 2 assassination attempts in the first trimester. It's rough. It's rough. It's been a rough trimester. This kid's going to need therapy for sure. Hey, Sheila Poo. What's up, Sheila Poo? Thanks for bringing in 10 new membos. Welcome aboard, new membos. Great to have you. Sheila Poo, thanks for bringing them in. New membos, we'll see you tomorrow on the members-only stream. And this morning, we had a great members-only stream where we were talking about all the details in our new research file that we've created for the Trump assassination attempt second charge. So if you're a new member, we went through all that this morning. So check that out if you're a member. We also have Sheila Poo reminding us to smash that like button. Thank you, Sheila, for the reminder. And my friends, listen to Sheila. She knows best. What's up, Alpha She-Wolf? Hey, it says same FBI that raided Mar-a-Lago is now investigating everything. That's exactly right. It's the same people. Same people who set up Trump collusion hoax 1, Trump collusion hoax 2.
As small as 5.5 micrometers, thinner than a human red blood cell. Which measures 8 micrometers. The most common type were plocoproline, used in furniture, clothing, and nylon. Yes, now the clothing you are wearing puts microplastics not just in your balls, but also in your brain. What the fuck? Response. Are you guys responding, or do you have too much microplastics in your brain?
No, my brain is plastic free. I'm confident.
Doesn't that look kind of delicious though? Like the glaze on that?
Tatiana, control your hunger.
I would eat the fuck out of that brain.
How do you nasty motherfucker?
Less attractive in that regard.
That looks disgusting.
You put sprinkles on anything, I'm in.
Thank you. Hate sprinkles.
Tell that to Mike Obama.
Some sprinkles on it, I'm going.
How do you
is filled with plastic.
You have to have cotton underwear and cotton clothing and linen stuff, and otherwise it's kind of hard. I've actually looked into it. So, like leggings and stuff are really bad for you.
Lululemon, I heard, is really bad for you.
Yeah,
according to some sources.
Not the way it looks, though. You know what I'm saying?
You gonna give her your microplastic?
Yo, you want this microplastic?
Oh my god. What is it with us today?
I don't know. I'm just having fun.
Definitely not Clintina today.
Yeah, I'm just having fun. Look, I had to look deep into the heart of darkness with the second Trump assassination attempt, and I was like, let's just come in here and have fun. The world might be ending. Like, we haven't even talked.
Probably
about
resting.
Yes,
I don't know.
Brain plastic's big story. A real big story.
He's in a blackout area.
Storm Shadow missile systems inside. Oh yeah.
He's in that Wyoming area where, or whatever.
And then they're like, he's not going to answer back. As of course, Putin straight up said, you need NATO to
he may be lurking.
You need the United States.
I'll be done driving in about 15 minutes.
NATO launching missiles deep inside of Russia. And now they're betting that he won't respond here. Bull fucking shit. He's probably is going to respond. They said he wasn't going to invade Ukraine. Fucking invaded Ukraine. This guy is a former KGB guy. He's trying to control his population. He's trying to stay in power. He's been in power forever. And this is the type of person you're trying to provoke here with long-range missile attacks from the United States. It's fucking crazy, and that's an absolute wild fucking escalation. But either way, it's either nuclear Armageddon or microplastics in your balls that are going to take you out.
Or civil war because Donald Trump got shot and killed. Like there's just so many different angles for cataclysmic risks that I'm like, I'm just going to come in here and talk about blowing Michelle Obama and just enjoy the rest of my life. Because it may not have long left.
we got a super chat for that, Steph. Read it.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to make it where.
Are you looking up pussies?
No, I'm figuring out my Telegram so that when I have to talk to people, the cell phone number doesn't go everywhere.
It doesn't have to. And read the super chats, please.
Well, she pulls that up.
No drinky poo. Matt Damon.
Nice.
And then keep going.
Matt Damon.
Thank you. See, he's over here. You want to read this?
No.
Keep reading.
Bad Joke 69 says Donald Trump was almost assassinated for the second time, and all Clint wants to talk about is the dick. Saya?
Yeah, no, I've already explained. I've explained my rationale as to why I'm taking this step.
That's why the super chat was so very timely. And we got another one here. Keep going.
Bulldozer 74 saying Clintina is filled with silicone in the pussy. I sent a DM with an app meme, by the way.
You guys are insane.
I showed it to you, didn't I?
Yeah. Where was the DM? Where did you send the DM, Bulldozer? Is it on Twitter?
To the only person that has open DMs.
Oh, you. Do you have it? You wanna send it in the group chat so we can post it?
Shameless plug. Konstantin Kisin and James Lindsay and a handful of others have been trying to label my people, my paleocon strategy, libertarian adjacent kind of right-wing movement as the right-wing woke is what they're trying to label us as.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I broke it down all on my episode yesterday on Liberty Lockdown. I highly encourage you to check it out. But I just wanted the reason I brought that up is because one, I destroyed Konstantin Kisin. Fuck that guy. Even though I kind of like him. He's alright, whatever. But two, I explained how the Storm Shadow missile system works, and let me just clarify one point that I was making. It's not so much. These missile systems have been given to Ukraine. They just have not been using them to strike inside of Russia. The reason that Putin is taking the stand is that the Storm Shadow missile system has 3 surveillance technologies. It has satellite, it has onboard, and it has ground.
I think I'm going to the right place.
If it gets spoofed, you can shut off the above and below and just down. They refuse to be spoofed. They're bad motherfucking machines. The reason that Putin's taking this stand is you cannot make these things functional without the data that comes on board that comes from NATO territories or the satellites, which are directly provided either by NATO nation states, EU,
that's what I thought.
American satellites. That's the reason he's saying it. He's absolutely right. If the inverse was done to us, we would be fucking flattening Russia tomorrow. They cannot do this. It is suicidal. And the fact that Antony Blinken is really the one that's making this decision. Congress has no
15 minutes
this
from
is a
now.
declaration of war.
I figured I was heading in the wrong
without
fucking place.
That is
I was like,
fucking
wait a minute,
treasonous.
I'm almost
That's
downtown.
never happened before in the last all the time, constantly over the last few
This is why I'm
decades.
so black-pilled. Literally nothing ever happens to these people. How long are we going to keep putting up with this
No,
crap?
they always ask for congressional approval before starting up wars and conflicts and killing people.
Actually, they did one time. It was Barack Obama. It was to invade Syria, and Congress wouldn't do it, and then we didn't go to war. So my point is that if you apply enough pressure to the political establishment, there is a chance that they actually hear us and they say, all right, look, we can't do this on our own. We're going to have to go to Congress. If they go to Congress, Congress will not vote for fucking war against Russia. There's no fucking way they will. So that's what I'm saying. Apply the pressure. Do not give up. This is fucking existential. Like, this really does matter.
A couple things, because I remember being very active reporting on that very specific incident. It wasn't just Congress. It was a bunch of people taking to the streets, protesting. It was a bunch of individuals saying, hey, this is absolutely crazy. We're not doing another Libya. We're not creating another massive tremendous refugee crisis that the Libyan conflict started. As of course, now in Libya, you literally have open air slave drug trafficking markets where, of course, all of those drugs, all of those slaves, all of those people, all of those migrants are literally trafficked into Europe directly through NGO pipelines and Christian Catholic organizations and all these boats that are financed by George Soros that ship them over into all of Europe, which Ryan was just seeing.
I think it had me going to the housing area instead of the fucking building. So we're not 2-minute diversion. Why is this
recent travels there? I stopped traveling Europe. I was like, fuck this shithole. The more I saw it, the more I started to encounter all these crazy things that I'm like, I can't defend myself in any of these situations. It's absolutely tragic in many of these places. They were absolutely amazing and beautiful. Now they're just modern kind of shitholes.
No, I saw it was. It was crazy. I was traveling around these little towns in Italy. People as the entire population of the city from these places.
Why does this keep freezing?
It's like, what is this for? My question is, what's the end game? Like, what's the actual strategy? What does this do?
What do you drop it,
the population. It makes it so it's easier to steal elections. It makes it so that you have cheaper labor. And ultimately, I think that if there is civil strife, then it just strengthens the federal government to crack down on.
But do these?
The true source of their problem, but it also destroys the economy. It also makes housing more expensive, and it creates larger pressures on a lot of these benefit social security type of institutions that they have in Europe.
The thing of, like, do these people not realize that an economy isn't sustained by having a bunch of Uber drivers and nobody else actually doing productive work? Like, if your entire country is just people receiving benefits, I think people delivering Uber Eats, you don't have a fucking economy.
To them, I don't think it's about a sustainable economy per se, but rather, if you're going to take the route of going hyperinflation, all that matters is that you possess the hard assets, because they will maintain the purchasing power while everyone else starts to starve. So that to me is really the angle that they've taken on, is that they own everything, or like this is the whole World Economic Forum, you'll own nothing and be happy. Well, it's kind of already true. They own nearly everything that's actually tangible, and it will appreciate in value in contrast to the depreciating dollar. So I think that's their position.
I think we're living in a type of pre-World War I situation where the deep state dramatically needs a Franz Duke Ferdinand situation to unfold in order to start a bigger war. I think that's where we are right now. And if the first assassination attempt was successful on Trump, we already would have been in a full, all-out, blown war inside of the Middle East, according to my own kind of personal perspective and opinion, being in this industry for so long. As recently, the Secret Service held a press conference, I think in the making of this video, where they were warning about geopolitical events that could put the United States in a kinetic war. Now, why is the Secret Service bringing this up specifically when talking about Trump's assassination? That's a point that I think all of us are wondering here. Here's the clip.
There could be another geopolitical event that could put the United States into a kinetic conflict or some other issue that may result in additional responsibilities and protectees of the United States Secret Service.
Yeah. What the fuck does that mean?
What's a kinetic conflict?
That means a war.
Yeah, like a
Why couldn't they
full-blown
just
hot
say
war.
Because they wanted to be explicit that it's not just a cold war, but it can be hot. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean?
No, kinetic just means that you're actually live firing. Like, this is not a proxy war, it's not a cold war, it's a hot kinetic war.
Yeah. And
why the fuck is he saying that if he doesn't, like, that is...
Well, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been kind of hinting at for, ever since the first assassination failed. I said, hey, they were going to use this to start a war. And I think they're desperately trying to get that Franz Duke Ferdinand moment to make history rhyme like it usually does. And then all hell will kind of break loose. But I think the larger prospects of war is on the table, and I think its possibility keeps increasing the closer we get towards a potential Donald Trump victory.
Do you guys think that people will actually take up arms and go to war, though? Because, I mean, they're having a really hard time recruiting people to sign up for armed services.
But that's
in
not
the
how
first
wars
place.
are fought. Wars are fought with drones right now. If you look at what's happening in Ukraine, I think it's a larger beta test of the larger technological advancements to see what works, what doesn't work. Sure, you need some people to fight these conflicts, but if you look at Russia, their population is also declining rapidly. The population in the United States also declining. Western-born population declining significantly.
There's still,
Europe.
Still over 1 million troops, though, in America.
But if you look at the Chinese weapons developments that they're working on, it's drone swarms. It's other technological advanced form of weaponry that humanity never has really seen before. They have drones that are flamethrower drones that Ukraine is using right now with thermite grenades on them that are just getting rid of all the Russian positions.
So we are changed. Luke Radowski.
So this is a new form of
on Rumble
warfare that we have never seen before. That is absolutely
he can't do this on YouTube.
It's not as dependent on manpower as it is technology.
Well, who are they destroying? Right? Like, I mean, you've got to operate the drones. You've got to have the guys in the trenches that you're.
No, he's anti-war as hell.
I mean, I guess
we don't know who he was, inferring was going to be the victim of.
He
this
hates
next
Kissinger.
war.
He got up in Kissinger's face.
I'm deeply concerned that it's Russia. I really think that they're escalating this thing. That they expect Russia to respond to the Storm Shadow missile system. Let's be honest. If this fucking goes down, if he's right and they go for Iran, there's no way that fucking Putin's going to look at that and say, "Oh, that's fine. Our top ally, or one of our top 3 allies, you can just go to war with them."
Well, it's a multi-pronged kind of situation. And of course, Iran is helping out Russia significantly with a lot of the drones that they're using and implementing. Ukraine is saying that Iran is very close for the Ukrainians to even attack them and retaliate against their larger support of Russia here. So it would be a 2-pronged kind of situation that would unfold here. It wouldn't just be, of course, Russia. It would be Russia and its allies as well. And Iran is one of its
In fact, he did a nice stream about that afterwards.
If
After
you're
he
talking
died.
about, like, that's Article 5, that's all of NATO, and then you have Iran, Russia, arguably China. I mean, then we have to figure out how China, like, what side of the ring China decides to throw their hat in with. Like, I have no fucking clue what side they're going to go with. So, if they do, I mean, you're talking about all of the nuclear arsenals at war with one another. That is world-ending potential.
I think China strategically will kind of just back up a little bit and finance whatever side to get more money and power. And then once both sides are kind of destroying each other, they just take Taiwan.
If I were them, that's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Where are they planning on hitting these nuclear bombs? Do we know? I mean, I have family in Poland. Luke is also Polish, so I'm always thinking about, how they basically have been the home for so many Ukrainian people, and all the Polish people are saying, at first they were saying, oh no, we're never going to get dragged into the war. And now it seems pretty inevitable, being that they're, right there.
I used to worry tremendously about nuclear war and like where I should be. I don't worry about it anymore. If it happens, like I worry about it. If it happens,
we're all fucked.
Yeah, I worry about it in the sense that like I very much want to advocate against it and I want to prevent it. But if it actually happens, I let it land on me, man. I don't give a fuck. It's over.
Yeah, it's not going to be a world you want to live in, especially with the utter devastation and lack of resources.
I feel like Miami's safe.
No, it is not.
What? Come
Absolutely
on, everybody
not.
goes here.
Our only hope is that there's a ton of Russians that live here, so maybe they would keep us safe.
I don't think so.
I don't either, but I'm just saying.
Another perspective to think about, if you're Russia, there's serious considerations now that Russia will give nuclear weapons to Iran. and to North Korea. Because if you're Russia and you're seeing the United States advance on these particular things, this is a war with the United States. It's a proxy war. Why not finance the proxies? Why not give the proxies nuclear weapons? Russians have a lot of nuclear weapons, and we're in a position where now they're going to be, and I think they might have already done this, and if they did, we probably wouldn't have heard about it, but there is a very likely scenario and situation unfolding right now where Iran literally has nuclear weapons from Russia, and so does, of course, North Korea. So yeah, there's that reality. How do you feel about that?
My question is, why is the U.S. intelligence and military establishment so pathologically incensed by Russia existing? Why are they
It looks a threat because they don't want Russia and Germany to come together. It looks like we have the start of the X Spaces with Donald Trump on his social media platform. I think, is it live now? I don't know if it is or is not. Let me just double check. But keep going, right?
Yeah, that's my question. I mean, it's not the Soviet Union anymore. They got absolutely destroyed, and many people in the U.S. establishment helped really destroy the Russian economy when they switched over from communism to capitalism. They're a capitalist country now. They're no threat to us, and yet these people keep starting conflicts with them. Why?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with Vladimir Putin's decision to intervene on behalf of Bashar al-Assad in Syria about a decade ago. That really threw a wrench in their plans, and that I think that put him on the outs with the U.S. State Department, because prior to that, they basically, like, if you remember during the debates, I think it was Mitt Romney versus Obama, and Obama fucking laughed at Mitt Romney. He's like, this isn't the Cold War. The Cold War's over. That shift in State Department rhetoric happened right after Russia intervened on behalf of the Syrians. I think that put him on the outs, so I think that's one angle of it. I think two, when he first invaded Ukraine, they kicked him off of SWIFT, and this is such a nuclear, financial weapon to wield. They have to win this war.
Oh, look at this deer, middle of Cleveland.
In our sanction regime proves itself to be toothless, so that's another angle. And then also, I think that they are preparing, or they want to be prepared for a war with China, as they perceive that to be the next major threat of the next 50 years. They want to have basically a docile neighbor to China that will be malleable to their ends. That's the multiple layers of why.
Yeah, I've been speaking about this kind of formation of this conflict brewing for a very long time. Last few days on the YouTube channel, I specifically went into great detail about everything that has been unfolding, the threats that have been made, and this larger kind of insane situation that all of us are having to deal with. But I do believe that this long-range kind of...
You went from save him to make jerky out of him. That was quick. Where's another one?
Observations, the missiles could be launched sometime in October, the closer we get to elections. How will Russia retaliate? They could also launch nuclear weapons. They could
just grazing on the front yard there.
They could launch a nuclear weapon in the Baltic Sea, just to show the capacity of what they're capable of. And I think...
I guess there are some wooded areas around here, but that's crazy.
Direct kind of participation, this direct kind of fighting, that to me is absolutely reckless and absolutely stupid. Steph, we have one more super chat. Can you read it?
Better be careful.
Sending a thank you for being...
Imagine calling your insurance company and say, yeah, I just hit a deer in Cleveland.
I tried to listen to other podcasts in the past. I would have switched streams due to not being able to hear. Really appreciate everything you guys do.
I'm unmuted. Check. Just checking that everybody can hear me. Check. 1, 2. May I get some thumbs up for the audience? Before you go, just a quick disclaimer. A few quick reminders before we begin. You should think of our conversation today as a general discussion. You are going to hear from a number of speakers, all with their own opinions that may not necessarily represent the views of others or any organizations with which they are associated. You should understand, our speakers have financial interest in some of the items we plan to discuss today and in decentralized finance and digital assets generally. Of course, nothing discussed here today should be deemed technical, legal, financial, or any kind of advice. You should always consult your own expert advisors if you're seeking any advice. To the extent there are discussions about future plans, vision, and other forward-looking information, it is always important to remember that all such forward-looking information in the future generally is subject to change. risk and uncertainties.
Eric sounds like Eric Prince of Black yeah. He just followed me. What's the name of his company?
I think it's a different name than it was before. It seems like this is a legal statement that they're.
It's a disclosure because they're fucking fraudsters.
Explain further. They just did like a legal notice
because they're shilling fucking like
Crypto.
garbage coins. Like that's what this is. It's a fundraising mechanism for Trump. And God bless him. You know, get your bag, homeboy. But
I believe they're known as shitcoins.
Shitcoins. Thank you. Yes.
Well, there at least should be some kind of statement here from Donald Trump about someone trying to take his life. So we'll see what they have to say. But if this is just kind of a sales pitch from the beginning, of course we'll tune out here.
That's why they're doing the disclosures, because legally, if they're giving financial advice, particularly with it paired with a political campaign, that would be
Do you guys know what happened with that Donald Trump coin that Shkreli was supposedly involved in and Barron supposedly put together?
I'm sure it went
just
to the
went
moon.
away.
Just kidding.
I don't know. Like it was kind of sort of supposed to be a big deal because Shkreli shouldn't be doing anything like that because of his going to
because
jail.
He's a
and all.
felon.
Yeah, that whole jail thing.
Probably.
So yeah, I don't know. It seems like that just went away. I never even found out what the outcome was or anything.
I really as much as I want to believe that Donald Trump's the guy to fix some of this shit. When I see stuff like this, it really diminishes my hopefulness.
Are they making any sound in their spaces at all, or what's going on?
I think they're just waiting for Trump to start talking.
Getting ready. Okay.
You guys understand what I'm saying?
We'll pull around the back of the building because there's deer back here a lot.
Just ask for fun straight up. Don't be selling fucking shit coins to people like, oh, this will be not just helping me become the next president, but rather you will also retire 10 years younger. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Ha! Ha! No deer.
Apparently, I'm even doing some stuff.
Oh, basketball.
As we wait for
No deer.
statements from Donald Trump, let's do that.
Yeah, see, there's some wooded areas.
Afterwards. Tatiana, where can we find out more information about you as we wait for...
All right.
People can go to
I'll get this. I only have one desktop to put in. Hopefully it won't take more than an hour. And I'll fire it back up on the way home.
They can also go to thecounterparty.com and get their tickets now. Regular listeners, WRC20, and you get 20% off the ticket. Event in Miami. See all your friends.
I got a piece of wood. All right. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Here, and Luke Unfiltered members just got the free code in the Telegram chat. So if you are a Luke Unfiltered member, go to Telegram, and we're going to make another post about